retirement tax and estate planning is a fee-only fiduciary partner. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 3 o'clock. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, important political phone calls after the election.
I'm Julia Fellow. How did he do it?
I'm Debbie Lazago, westbound on 94. We are seeing a little bit of a backup from about 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard, and that's pretty much it. Everything else, it looks like it's looking really good right now. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. It's currently 50 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, an important phone call between Vice President Harris and President-elect Trump.
Vice President Harris called President-elect Trump today to congratulate him on winning the presidential election. According to a senior Harris aide, she discussed the importance of a peaceful transfer of power and being a president for all Americans. The vice president will deliver remarks this afternoon at Howard University, what her campaign had hoped to be a victory speech last night. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
President Biden also called President-elect Trump to congratulate him. We will carry Kamala Harris's speech live when it happens here on WTMJ.
I'm Eric Bilstead. So what was the secret for Donald Trump's success?
I think he focused on the issues that voters truly care about.
Republican strategist Bill McCoshen tells Wisconsin's Morning News it wasn't rocket science.
People said the economy was the number one issue, and Donald Trump had specific answers as to how he was going to turn this economy around.
McCoshen says the biggest election surprise to him was the number of people who didn't vote.
The overall turnout appears to be down from 2020.
By about 20 million voters. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Incumbent Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin defeated Republican challenger Eric Hovde to win a third term. Baldwin trailed Hovde for most of election night until votes in Milwaukee County were tabulated early this morning. Baldwin defeated Hovde by a margin of 49.4% to 48.5%, a difference of just under 29,000 votes. This is outside the 1% Hovde needs to ask for a recount. In a statement, Hovde says he is not conceding and will continue to monitor the returns and make sure every vote is counted.
Wisconsin voters approve a constitutional amendment.
Right now, the Wisconsin Constitution says that every Wisconsin citizen who's at least 18 can vote. The amendment revises that language. It will now say only U.S. citizens can vote in federal, state, and local elections here in Wisconsin. Republicans across the country have been pushing for the change. Democrats worry the change will create hurdles for legal voters and lead people to believe that the problem of non-citizens voting is bigger than it really is. Jessica Ty, WTMJ News.
Molson Coors has announced plans of the closure of historic Leinenkugel's brewery in Chippewa Falls.
The brewing giant tells WTMJ the decision to close the Northwestern Wisconsin brewery is a result of the end of a large contract brewing agreement and that operations will now shift to their main site in Milwaukee's Miller Valley. In a statement to WTMJ, former Leinenkugel's president Dick Leinenkugel says none of his family was made aware of or counseled on the decision. Molson Coors adds the Leinie Lodge and adjacent pilot brewery in Chippewa Falls will remain open year-round. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Coming up, international eyes on American politics.
Signing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 3:04.
This report is sponsored by Feldco, Wisconsin's home renewal experts.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's Dave from Feldco. Did drafty windows make last winter frigid? Listen, Feldco's here to make things easier for you. It's the perfect time of year to replace those old windows. Right now, get 50% off windows plus no money down and no interest for 1 year. Visit us at 4feldco.com or give us a call at 866-4FELDCO.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866-4FELDCO.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Elmbrook Family Dental, a great dental team from right here in Wisconsin. Dr. Eric is great. He's born and raised in Elm Grove, and he's the expert when it comes to cosmetic work with Invisalign. Dr. Eric's used Invisalign himself. He knows that would help him treat patients. He can help walk you through the process. The website is elmbrookfamilydental.com. 3 locations, 2 in Brookfield and a brand new spot in Wauwatosa. That's elmbrookfamilydental.com.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 3:06.
International media got a first-hand look at election process in Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Divya Das. I may not be a household name in the States, but I am in my home country of Denmark.
Das is a newscaster visiting Wisconsin for the first time to cover what she calls, quote, the world's most important election, end quote, for Denmark's TV2. She's observed voting at the polls, plus interviewed a Fond du Lac farmer from Denmark and Get Out the Vote volunteers at No Studio's Election Night Watch Party. Danes are very interested in the United States' participation in NATO.
It is very important to us as Europeans that there is a U.S. that we can rely on.
Sandy Max, WTMJ News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The bye week continues for the Packers, but not for Preston Smith, who was traded to the Steelers before Tuesday's deadline. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst on replacing a veteran locker room leader.
Wasn't something that we set out to do. Wasn't something that we called a bunch of teams saying, hey, are you interested in Preston Smith? Because we know his value. But when the opportunity came and we got the phone call, we just thought it made sense for us.
Week 10 of the NFL season begins Thursday night with the Ravens hosting the Bengals, and the Bucs aim to snap a 6-game losing streak Thursday at home against the Utah Jazz.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 3:07.
James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. JamesImaging.com.
Al Leidinger, president of Matheson Manufacturing, needed better document imaging technology rather badly. Then came a James Imaging Systems sales representative to the rescue.
Tammy Oliver actually walked in the door one day and introduced herself and showed us the new features that the Toshiba had compared to our old copier. So we ended up signing up with them.
Now, after the sale, is your James Imaging Systems sales rep's customer service meeting your expectations?
Yes, she still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
James Imaging Systems. Better document imaging technology, better support, amazing people.
There's a true personal relationship, and we've been very happy with them.
Less than happy with your current document imaging vendor? Make the switch to James Imaging Systems. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
All right, we made it through election night. Kamala Harris is scheduled to speak and give her concession speech any moment here. We will bring that to you when it happens in Washington, D.C. But first,
this is the 3 at 3 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Multiple sources now telling me that the Leinenkugel Brewery in Chippewa Falls, the historic brewery, will indeed shut down. And I just got a statement from the folks at Molson Coors who say we've made the decision to close 2 of our smaller brewing operations in Wisconsin. Leinie's joined Miller Brewing in 1988. The brand and Chippewa Falls have been a cherished part of our company and our culture. The statement says that's not changing. Leinie's Summer Shandy will continue to play a role, and the Leinie Lodge, the place you can hang out in Chippewa Falls, will remain open. Dick Leinenkugel, the former president, sent me a statement that said, I'm deeply saddened by the decision to close our Chippewa Falls brewery. None of our family members were aware or counseled ahead of the decision. It's a sad day for our family and our fans. In 2017, he writes, we came together in Chippewa to celebrate our brewery's 150th anniversary. It was a defining moment of my career in beer. Today, on behalf of the Leinenkugel family, I thank our beer drinkers. I'll toast them this evening with a Leine's Original and a tear in my eye.
Absolutely. That's so sad.
Yeah,
Since
historic.
1800s?
I've got a lot more on this. Either later today or tomorrow, depending on time, I will bring you much, much more on this story.
Yes. Number 2, we're going to give our observations from last night. So I was at the Democratic Party of Wisconsin's watch party last night. That's what I covered. And it was interesting to see people audibly gasping, just looking and watching the people. When they even saw Minnesota, John, too close to call at one point.
Right.
They just couldn't believe that. Then people had their faces over their mouths, started leaving after they saw the Senate would have a Republican majority and Donald Trump likely had a clear path to winning Wisconsin. Here's 2 people I spoke to.
Huge disappointment.
Even though it's not going to happen until January, we already know the fallout that it's going to be.
And we knew that it was not going to be good, especially when they were talking about the so-called blue wall, and Donald Trump bashed through it. He got Pennsylvania, he got Michigan today, that was called, and Wisconsin.
My top observation from last night is the disparity between how people voted in the presidential race here in Wisconsin and how they voted in the U.S. Senate race. So I got out of here late last night. I got home. I watched Donald Trump's speech at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I went to bed. When I went to bed, Eric Hovde looked like he was going to win Wisconsin. And woke up and Eric Hovde had lost Wisconsin. Here's my top observation related to that race. Eric Hovde lost to Tammy Baldwin by 29,000 votes. 29,000 votes. A far right-wing candidate named Thomas Leaguer, ultra-right-wing, received 42,000 votes. Those are people who would undoubtedly have voted for Eric Hovde. So he loses by 29,000. This third-wing guy gets in and gets 42,000 votes. Hovde loses. Hovde today is calling him out by name, saying he should have never been in the race. So my observation, the closeness of that race and how odd and interesting it is that the Republican Donald Trump won Wisconsin, but the Democrat Tammy Baldwin won the U.S. Senate race.
Showing why we're so purple.
For sure. That's the greatest example
You would think
of us
it'd
being
be
purple.
right down one line. Everybody kept saying that nationally. Nope.
But not here. All right, we're looking at a live picture at Howard University in Washington where there is a professional flag fluffer. She has been out on the stage for like 15 minutes fluffing those flags.
Yes, doing some bunting.
Waiting for VP Harris to speak after losing to Trump. She has called and spoken to President-elect Donald Trump, and she will speak to the nation. You will hear that here on WTMJ when it happens.
The Upswing is your place for commerce and community.
Can it be a little hard to be a parent and a coach at the same time?
Yes.
I'm asking for a friend myself.
Hosted by Jeff Sherman.
I find myself, especially at basketball games with my children, literally sitting and physically putting my hand over my mouth.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avastin-captid Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is the sound of construction. Sounds pretty standard, except it's building a place that has something extraordinary. Specialty care just for women. From problems that typically go untreated to unique care you can't get anywhere else. We're building the place that puts women's care first, so their health never has to come last. Welcome to Integrated Specialty Care for Women at East Park Medical Center. UW Health. Remarkable.
Traffic and weather as we wait on Kamala Harris in D.C. Good afternoon, Debbie.
Good afternoon, John. Well, northbound on 43, right about at Keefe. We've got the right lane blocked with a broken down vehicle, so watch out for that. Also westbound on 94, right at the ramp from 175 northbound Brewers Boulevard. Got the right shoulder blocked with another broken down vehicle. Delays back to 27th Street with that. Other than that, we've got, 43 northbound, I should tell you. Those delays stretch pretty much from North Avenue all the way up to that broken down vehicle. So careful with that. The rest of the system actually looking pretty good. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast tonight, partly cloudy, low 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. On Friday, mostly sunny, a high of 59 degrees. On Saturday, increasing clouds, showers late, a high of 58 degrees. On Sunday, morning rain, a high of 63 degrees. It's currently 50. We are waiting for Kamala Harris to address the nation at Howard University in Washington. When that happens, we will bring it to you. A staffer just walked out and set her remarks on the podium, but no sign yet of Kamala Harris, so we will bring that to you when it happens. In the meantime, let's get to Mike Dubowski, ABC News correspondent in Pennsylvania, which was really the turning point last night. Mike, good afternoon. Tell us about the path to victory there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it. Pennsylvania was 19 electoral votes. It's a huge prize for both campaigns, and it went red. Donald Trump won the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He won this state back in 2016, but it did flip to Biden in 2020, so really underlining exactly how much of a swing state Pennsylvania is. Here in Bucks County, where I am right now, sort of the northeastern suburbs of Philadelphia, this is where the Democrats really had to turn out the vote, right? They had to bump up support in these crucial suburban and exurban counties around the Democratic strongholds of Philadelphia and in the western part of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. That really did not come to pass. Bucks County has now gone red by a slim margin, admittedly, but it's the first time that this county has voted for a Republican since 1988. Guys, you have to go back to the George H.W. Bush, Michael Dukakis election to find the last time this happened.
Interesting. Why do you think the voters decided to change their minds? Did the assassination attempt that happened in their state sway them to vote Trump?
So it's interesting, right? There are several issues that I spoke to voters about that they said that they were thinking about when they cast their ballots. J.D. Vance held an event right here in Newtown, Pennsylvania, where I am right now. On Monday night, I was talking to supporters who were walking into that event at this local athletic club, and they said a couple of things that really stuck out to me as kind of why they were supporting the former president, right? The assassination attempt was part of it. In addition to that, they saw the multiple federal indictments, the criminal charges being leveled against the former president as an attack by the Biden administration on the former president, on Donald Trump. And they saw that as unfair. That was part of the motivating factor that got them out to the polls, voting for the former president. In addition to that, and this is backed up by polling that exit polling that ABC News has put out in the last day, the economy and illegal immigration are two big issues that voters went to the polls really across the country, but especially here in Pennsylvania, concerned about things like wages, concerned about things like illegal immigration, and concerned about things like rising inflation rates. Those were the issues that voters had in mind as they headed to the polls on Tuesday.
Mike, in states across the country, Wisconsin being one of them, and in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump made gains with young voters and with minorities. Kamala Harris is a minority. Do we have any indicator how that happened, how he made those gains?
Yeah, I mean, it's really something that Democrats, I think, are going to be reckoning with over the next few days and weeks. You're absolutely right that Donald Trump and the Republican Party saw huge gains, specifically among Latino voters. Really, if you go up to, Pennsylvania District 7, District 8, this is where like Allentown and Scranton are. A lot of talk in recent weeks about the effects that those comments made at the Madison Square Garden rally, making fun of, many thought that they were offensive comments about Puerto Ricans by Tony Hinchcliffe, the right-leaning comedian. That didn't really show up in voting numbers, right? Allentown is nearly half a Latino Hispanic community. Many Puerto Ricans live there and have moved there in recent years. Speaking to voters, just kind of hearing our team speak to voters in that area, they maybe found the comments offensive, but they saw bigger issues at play here, things like the economy, rising inflation rates, wages, and the disparity between what they were hearing at the top echelons of government, right? That, the economy's coming back, inflation numbers are coming down. That's not just showing up on the ground for them, right? Prices are still high at grocery stores for many. Wages still haven't come back in the numbers that they want. So, that is kind of the motivating factor, it seems like. Even beyond, sort of racial breakouts, the economy really was sort of a major theme this election cycle.
And just the motivation to get to the polls in general. We just got from the Associated Press that 73% of registered voters showed up to the polls at our state. So did people just not show up for Harris?
It's really interesting to look at the raw vote totals, right? So in 2016, Donald Trump did not win the popular vote. He lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton, but he won the Electoral College vote. Obviously, in 2020, he lost the Electoral College vote and the popular vote to President Biden. This time around, he won the popular vote. This is the first time in 20 years that a Republican has won the popular vote in the United States. And if you could look at just kind of the numbers, he actually netted fewer votes overall than he did 4 years ago, right? Still won the popular vote, but, there was just a smaller turnout, and that number is, a few million short of what we saw in 2020. Meanwhile, the Democrats really just collapsed in terms of the popular vote, right? We saw huge turnout for the popular vote among Democrats in 2020, and of course before that in 2016. Kamala Harris, 67 million votes, almost 68 million votes that I'm reading right now have been tabulated for Kamala Harris. It's about 73 million, I should say, for Donald Trump. So really something that Democrats are going to be keeping a close eye on in these next few days. Kind of hard, guys, to find any silver linings for Democrats today.
So I wanted to ask you, do they face a leadership crisis? Do they need different candidates? Is it at the DNC level? They must be questioning everything right now.
You can imagine they are, right? And you look kind of up and down the ballot, that is, bearing out really at many levels. There was a very competitive Senate race here in Pennsylvania between Bob Casey and Dave McCormick. Dave McCormick, the Republican, former hedge fund manager. Bob Casey has represented Pennsylvania as a senator since 2006. He was favored to win this election. As of right now, it doesn't appear that ABC News has called that election yet, but Dave McCormick is leading by a slim margin, but he is leading. So, that is just an example of some of these down ballot races that did not bear out for Democrats. Guys, if you even go down to like the really local level here in Pennsylvania, I'm talking like the state Senate level in the sort of, northeastern suburbs or northeastern regions of Philadelphia. Again, a huge Democratic stronghold. We saw Republicans like Joe Picozzi turn out the vote, unseating an incumbent Democrat. Actually spoke to Joe Picozzi a few days ago, and he told me that, the Democrats were kind of running assuming that they were going to win, and he was able to, turn out this election just by being out there, by, knocking on doors, 70,000 doors, he told me, by, putting up street signs and that sort of thing. And he said that there was a real appetite for, a Republican just to kind of shake up the system a little bit. That is the messaging, of course, that we're hearing from the Republicans. Of course, they would say something to that effect, but I think it's an important data point as we kind of look at the larger trend lines here across the United States.
ABC's Mike Dubusky in Pennsylvania, where it all turned for President Trump. Mike, thank you so much.
Of course, guys. Take care.
Talked to this guy in the middle of the night last night. I mean, he has been going.
There's Governor
Tim Walz has now walked into the area where Kamala Harris will speak, taking his seat near where the former Speaker Nancy Pelosi is. We're looking at a wide shot, Howard University in Washington, an overcast day. Applause. The vice president set to come out and address the nation after calling Donald Trump and saying that, yes, she has indeed lost. Let's check the business headlines as we wait for the vice president to come out. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything's soaring today. I mean, really soaring. The Dow is up 1,508 points. That's 3.5%. The NASDAQ was up 544. That is almost 3%. The S&P was up 146. That is 2.5%. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, we want to go to Howard University in Washington. Vice President Kamala Harris wearing a dark suit, walking out onto the stage there after losing the race to Donald Trump. There is a large stage with winged expansions to the right and the left. She is now standing to the right of the podium. She's waving to the crowd. Tim Walz is out there. She mouths, "I love you," a big wave, right hand, left hand. Lots of bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
She's now stepping to the podium, beginning to address the crowd.
I bet there's going to be a lot of applause, and we see American flags being waved. And also, Governor Walz and his wife looked very sad.
Let's go to Kamala Harris.
Let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much. To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support. To Governor Walz and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue. And to my extraordinary team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran and the way we ran it. Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country, with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people, a fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up. I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld. And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it. It is always worth it. To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others, So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
Kamala Harris's concession speech at Howard University in Washington, where she is an alum. Tears flowed, flags waved, a big crowd there, an outdoor speech. She spoke for about 8 minutes, and she wrapped that up just a moment ago, saying that she did talk to former President and now President-elect Donald Trump, and talking a lot about how important a peaceful transfer of power is to us as a nation. Choked up at times, telling the crowd, I love you. Please know it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. And we owe our loyalty to the Constitution of the United States.
Her voice was cracking. Did you notice that, John, at the beginning?
Yeah, she was emotional.
And her stepdaughter probably had the most emotion of all besides the crowd, sobbing in Doug Emhoff's arms.
Doug Emhoff now is on the stage. On the stage, they hold hands, they wave, they'll make our way back inside. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. The markets, they sure seem to like what happened yesterday. Dave Spano, Annex Wealth Management, is with us up next.
Are you waiting for a miracle to feel financially secure in retirement? In a recent study, over a third of millionaires predicted their ability to feel financially secure in retirement is going to take a miracle. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe a plan, not a miracle, will help increase your retirement confidence. Annex Wealth Management listens. Then, our team of experts gets to work using leading-edge technology to build a comprehensive plan that covers investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. We stress test it, run it through countless variables. Then, and only then, we present a framework for a financial plan tailored to your goals in retirement. And unlike our competitors, Annex doesn't have any products to push. No hidden fees or commissions. There's too much of that out there already. We're a fee-only fiduciary, required to act in your best interest at all times. More planning, fewer miracles. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Build confidence in your future with Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. AnnexWealth.com.
Hey, Wisconsin, WTMJ's Greg Matzik here for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. Hey, comfortable fall weather makes now perfect timing to gear up and be ready to take to the roads with confidence this winter in a new all-wheel drive equipped Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC. Or explore the peace of mind benefits and value of a GM-certified pre-owned model. Connect with Team Holiday to find the new vehicle that's right for you during the year-end sale. Score enticing offers, get more for your trade, and experience for yourself Team Holiday's simplified buying approach and genuine guest care. It's the stuff that delights and makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State and beyond. Fans like me and thousands of others whose trust in Holiday has helped them achieve top ranking as Wisconsin's #1 Buick and GMC dealer per 2023 Buick and GMC Zone Sales records. Navigate today's car market confidently. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick and GMC in Fond du Lac and at holidaygm.com. It's worth the trip.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Hey, let's get right out to Dave Spano. He is the money man. He's the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Dave, thank you so much for hanging on as we listen to the vice president there.
Yeah, thank you, John. I mean, that was really a great speech by her.
I agree. So today the market soared. The Dow up 1,500 points, everything up between 2 and 3%. I mean, a really, really good day. I want to start with this question. Is it that the markets, you believe, are happy that there's clarity and it's done, or is it that Trump won? If Kamala Harris had won, would the markets have likely done the same thing today?
Yeah, I think clarity is a big part of it. You know, the saying is always, does the market like clarity? And of course they do. And so that certainly clarifies it. I think that's part of it. The second part clearly is pro-growth policies that Trump is talking about. So you look at really what happened within the market, and I think that's really the difference, John, is, you know, think about the money just swooshing around like a washing machine. It's moving from one side to the next. In other words, clean energy stocks went down. You know, things that would have done better under a Harris regime did not do as well, and the things that expected to do well under a Trump regime really were doing well. And that's really what we saw. We saw money moving from one side to the next.
All right, so the U.S. Senate is likely to be controlled by Republicans, and CBS is now projecting that the U.S. House will also be controlled by Republicans. Right. You and I have talked about mixed leadership in the chambers and the executive branch usually being helpful for the markets. What are your initial thoughts if Republicans end up controlling everything?
Yeah, so you look at it right now, and we didn't expect a red wave, but you can see what the betting odds are at 98% that the Republicans are going to get the House as well. Now, how many seats they get in the House is important. And if they just win it by 1 or 2, that is not a big of a mandate as if it would be 5 or 6 or 7 seats. So if it's 1 or 2, that could be a bit of a governor, if you will, on the House. And so we'll take a look at that. You know, obviously a lot of these plans that he's talked about will go into effect. Tax cuts, you know, some of the tariffs that he talked about, these economic growth ideas, all of those will be in play, especially that he has both sides of the aisle.
So do you think the markets do better? They fare better because there's a majority and likely in the House, in the Senate, and we have a Republican president, so their policies will go through quicker?
Yeah, so you look at historically, generally when you have one side all controlling all three versus the next, the markets do not do as well. And so just look at historic numbers. That's been where it's at, Julia. So I would say at this point, let's take a look at what the policies are put forth. But if you get pro-growth policies, if you get some tax cuts, if you get perhaps some immigration controls, the things that he talked about, you could see a lot of activity in mergers and acquisitions. You already saw cryptocurrency doing well. You've seen banks and brokers doing well. So I think there's an opportunity set for sure if you look at where the money's going to go.
Dave Spano is the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary all the time. Know the difference. Check out the Get Started button. Click on it at annexwealth.com. Dave, thank you so much. We appreciate the perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And this Saturday on WTMJ, on Money Talk, we're going to have an election review Saturday at 10 a.m. So tune in for that. And politics, planning, and portfolios. We're going to do an economic impact review starting next Tuesday. Go to annexwealth.com/events to get signed up for that.
Oh, that's a great topic. Perfect. I will check that out. annexwealth.com/events. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
It is 3:43 at WTMJ. Coming up, Anthony Chergosky on the Baldwin-Hovde race, the Van Orden race, some of the Wisconsin-centric races. He's with us live up next.
Tony Drake here from Drake & Associates. Big news. Our Retirement Ready radio show is moving to a new time slot. Catch us at noon every Saturday. At Drake & Associates, we craft tailor-made plans that not only meet your financial needs, but align seamlessly with your unique lifestyle. Tune in at noon on Saturdays and get retirement ready.
Drake & Associates, LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates, LLC does not provide legal or tax advice.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper-Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
If you got a tattoo, what would it be?
What?
It's a conversation starter.
Why?
For the JYS2 Conversation Sofa from Penny Mustard.
The JYS2 Conversation Sofa has a unique curve to add dimension and ease as you sit face to face and chat with your friends.
What's your biggest fear?
And it's so comfortable.
What's the silliest question you've ever heard?
Easy. That one.
The JYS2 Conversation Sofa, starting at $27.91 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
There's no better place to catch the natural wonders of fall than Lake Geneva. Stroll a lakeshore path in a kaleidoscope of color. Explore winding rustic roads. Take a scenic boat tour or glide through a forest on a zip line. At night, stargaze from a historic observatory, cozy up to a campfire, or have a cocktail on the patio. Enjoy the seasonal bounty at orchards, wineries, and farms with flavors to savor. Plan your fall getaway now at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for fall fun.
Don't look now, but the leaves are turning and fall is here. If there are still yard projects on your to-do list, WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here to tell you there is still time. Maybe you're looking to enhance your landscape with new plantings or bulbs, or perhaps you want to prepare for next spring with overseeding and aerating for your lawn. Try David J. Frank Landscape and enjoy fall to the fullest. Let them handle those end-of-season cleanups and winterize your yard. Get a free quote at davidjfrank.com.
This traffic report is brought to you by Harwood Place Retirement Living in Wauwatosa. Located in the heart of Wauwatosa, Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing are changing the face of how to live your golden years. Visit harwoodplace.org.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lazaga, how are the roads looking?
Well, we do have some delays right now along northbound 43 coming out of the Marquette all the way up to Keefe. We did have an earlier broken down vehicle right about at Keefe that was blocking the right lane. They were able to get that out of the way. Southbound is going to be a little bit backed up just south of south of North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette all the way down to the KK River. Westbound 94 slowing from 16th Street to Mitchell Boulevard, and southbound 41 watch for backups from Silver Spring down past Capitol Drive. If you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen traffic tip line at 414-238-9329. Come to Hall Volkswagen for the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight will be partly cloudy, a low of 40, wind gusts up to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny, a high of 59 degrees. Then this weekend, some showers. Increasing clouds Saturday, showers late, a high of 58. Sunday morning, showers breezy, a high of 63. It's cloudy and 49 degrees right now in Milwaukee.
Anthony Chergosky is an associate professor of political science at UW La Crosse, and he's with us on this day after the election. Professor, thanks for being with us. Let's start with, what's your biggest surprise from last night?
Well, it is always notable, John, when there is a split decision with Donald Trump carrying Wisconsin, but Tammy Baldwin emerging victorious in the U.S. Senate race. It just goes to show that Wisconsin came into this election as a 50-50 swing state, and Wisconsin is heading out of this election as a 50-50 swing state. No better representation of that than one party winning one statewide election, the other party winning the other statewide election. And oh, by the way, Baldwin and Trump both won their races by almost identical margins.
And she's never lost a race. And she was winning by double digits in her last race against U.S. Senator Leah Vukmir. And now with Eric Hovde, it got so close. I mean, I went to bed thinking that Hovde won. Why?
Yeah, me too.
Why did she trail, Anthony?
You know, those late absentee ballots that came in, those votes that get counted earlier in the night, tallied earlier in the night tend to lean more Republican, and then the votes that come in later tend to go more Democratic, just based on how people are voting and the patterns at which the votes are counted. You're right that Tammy Baldwin had a large lead as we started this campaign throughout the summer, early fall. This race really tightened up, but ultimately she was able to get just enough of an advantage over Eric Hovde, overperforming Kamala Harris by just enough to eke out a victory.
I want to ask you about something Eric Hovde's saying today, Anthony. He's attacking the third-party candidate, Thomas Leaguer. Thomas Leaguer is a far right-wing candidate. None of those people would have voted for Tammy Baldwin. Thomas Leaguer gets 42,000 votes, and Eric Hovde loses by 29,000 votes. Can you talk about that dynamic? Is that a legitimate complaint if you're Eric Hovde?
I think he's onto something here. And generally, I think that candidates who lose these close elections tend to point to those third-party candidates, because when we're talking about a 30,000 vote margin, the third-party candidates could absolutely make the difference. Goodness knows the Democrats have had their complaints about third-party candidates in the past, most notably Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate back in 2016. So this is a common theme of candidates who narrowly lost the election, narrowly losing an election where third-party candidates play a role.
Eric Hovde, as you analyze the state of politics in our state, and he's been a high-profile candidate in a couple of elections now, if he decides to run for governor in 26, would he be the front runner?
Oh.
I think he would have the inside track to the Republican nomination. Now, he may face more of a competitive process for the GOP nomination should he seek statewide office again. Worth noting that he faced really no competition at all for the GOP nomination this time. I think it played to his advantage. Sometimes avoiding that contentious primary can really be a good thing. In this case, he was able to focus his messaging on the general election from the start, able to conserve some of those funds. I think there's going to be some Monday morning quarterbacking here, some second guessing at some key decisions that Hovde made. But still, he came darn close, and he was able to really tighten this race up as we got into late October and the final days of this campaign.
Now, do you want to talk about Representative Derek Van Orden next? Because that's Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district.
In your district, I mean, that's out by you.
Former Navy SEAL. There was millions of dollars in outside spending from national Democrats to kind of, sway this purple district after he flipped it red for the first time in like almost 30 years, nearly 30 years, during his election in 2022. How close do you think that got, and why were people almost not going to reelect him?
Yeah, Derek Van Orden has attracted controversies for various incidents, various news stories, including a situation in the Capitol where he was yelling at some teen pages from the U.S. Senate. But there have been other situations as well. And so in comes Rebecca Cook, his Democratic challenger, and she is able to raise a ton of money. And she's also able to attract that outside support from groups aligned with the Democratic Party. It all added up to much more even spending than we saw in this district back in 2022. And it gave Van Orden a run for his money. Still, he was able to continue establishing his brand as a political outsider, even while enjoying the advantages of incumbency. He had a bit of a needle to thread there, emphasizing how he remains a political outsider, even though he is now a current member of Congress. So he now heads into his second term in office, and we saw a really dramatic race out here, certainly the most competitive U.S. House race in Wisconsin.
Anthony Chergosky is with us from UW-La Crosse. New maps in place for the first time in this election, and Democrats made key pickups in the state Senate and in the Assembly, but the GOP still has majorities in both. Can you give us some analysis on how much tighter things are and what this could mean for the next few election cycles moving forward?
Yeah, Democrats picked up a bunch of seats in both chambers. They picked up several seats in the state assembly, not enough to win that majority, but enough to significantly eat into the substantial Republican margins that the GOP has enjoyed for over a decade in the state assembly. And then in the state Senate, there just was not a pathway for the Democrats to win the majority in the state Senate this year. So they had to gain enough seats to set the stage for an opportunity to win the majority in 2026. And Democrats did what they needed to do to set the stage for that majority control battle 2 years from now. So hold on when it comes to the state Senate. That is set up for 2026, the balance of power in the state Senate. But as we go into the final 2 years of Governor Evers' term in office, I think the politics of these next 2 years are going to be greatly shaped by the fact that Republicans, while they are the majority party in both the state assembly and the state Senate, they are not that overwhelming majority. And I think that could play a role.
And do you think they're not going to be an overwhelming majority in 2026 because of the new legislative maps that were upheld by our state Supreme Court?
Absolutely, Julia. These district maps make it very difficult for Republicans to get anywhere close to the previous majorities. They were darn near two-thirds majorities, veto-proof majorities in both the state Senate and state assembly. Heck, they even got that two-thirds majority last time around in the state Senate. Under these maps, there is just simply no pathway for Republicans to get those overwhelming majorities. Still, Republicans are going into the next 2 years with majority control still, and we shall see how the Republicans operate in the state assembly, the state Senate, with those majorities intact, but not the overwhelming majorities that they've had before. It will take some adjustment on their part to adapt to these new realities.
Anthony Chergosky, Associate Professor of Political Science at UW-La Crosse. Always great information. Anthony, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Arizona-based Pickleball Kingdom selects a new site for its first Milwaukee area location. The company will develop a facility in Menominee Falls on Shawn Circle at the former home of Multicolor Corporation. Associated Bank Corporation reduces its retail banking network with the planned closure of 4 branch offices. 3 of those offices are in Wisconsin, and 1 is in Illinois. Raising Cane's national chicken finger chain aims to grow to 1,000 restaurants by 2026. Wisconsin will be part of that growth, with 2 new restaurants in 2025 in Janesville and La Crosse, bringing the state's total locations to 7. I'm Linda Spice with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Sponsored by Grandview Homes, the name you know, the name you trust. GrandviewHomes.com.
When you need to sell quickly, choose Grandview to buy your home, even if it's less than perfect. Why waste time and money on making updates, finding a real estate agent, and dealing with showings when you can sell your home fast and easy? At Grandview Homes, we'll buy your home completely as is. That means no repairs, not even a clean out. Just take what you want and leave the stress and the mess to us. Unlike the traditional approach, Grandview Homes gives you an offer in hours and pays in cash for your home. We close on the day you choose in as little as 10 days. Plus, there's no closing costs and no hidden fees. Just imagine selling your home without the effort of finding a real estate agent or dealing with showings and updates. With Grandview, you can skip the hassle. From family homes to rentals, condos, and fixer-uppers, Grandview Homes is your one-stop shop for a smooth sale. Visit GrandviewHomes.com for your fair cash offer today. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Where the heck is everybody?
Beg your pardon?
I'm at your store and...
Yes?
Nobody's here.
That's because Hassleus mattress showrooms are employee-free. Take your time and test our selection of Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, Serta Perfect Sleeper, and more without commission-crazy salespeople breathing down your neck.
Yeah, sure, you say that, but come on.
What?
Where the heck is everybody?
Hassleus really is employee-free.
Okay.
So we can sell mattresses for way less. Like the Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Elm Cove Bee Queen. Others sell it for $12.99, but Hassleus has it for $8.42. Plus, check out our super low pricing on Sealy Posturepedic, Serta Perfect Sleeper, and more.
Yes, but...
And through Monday, get an extra $248 credit just for shopping local.
Well, that's great, but I just have one question.
What's that?
Where the heck is everybody?
Open 9 to 9. Find an honest-to-goodness, employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com. Hassleus, employee-free since 2014.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we're the cold weather experts, offering unbeatable deals on the gear and supplies you need to get ready for winter. Like 30% off all zero exposure outerwear for the family. Get $100 off a Cub Cadet 2-stage snow thrower. Get $120 instant savings when you buy 4 Goodyear tires. Rewards members save an extra $50. Plus, get up to $100 in additional savings by consumer rebate when you buy 4.
Find value at Green's Farm and Fleet.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you feel self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Traffic is sponsored by Richlawn's Tire and Service Center.
Richlawn's Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlawns.com when you're due for service.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 4 o'clock. I'm John Merkier. This is Wisconsin's Afternoon News, your top story beginning the peaceful transition of power.
I'm Julia Fellow. The presidential win means a boost for our markets.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Southbound on 41. We're seeing delays from just south of Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. Southbound 43 slowing down from just before Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Another pocket of heavy traffic coming in from just south of there all the way down to the KK River. Northbound backing up from Fond du Lac Avenue up towards Locust. Westbound 94 a little heavy from 25th Street all the way to about Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Partly cloudy tonight, a low of 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Vice President Kamala Harris delivering her concession speech at Howard University one day after former President Trump was projected the winner of the 2024 election.
Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
VP Harris acknowledged to her supporters that the outcome was not what they wanted.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
President-elect Trump got to the required 270 votes by winning 7 key battleground states, including Wisconsin.
I'm Eric Bilstead. So what was the secret for Donald Trump's success?
I think he focused on the issues that voters truly care about.
Republican strategist Bill McCoshen tells Wisconsin's Morning News it wasn't rocket science.
People said the economy was the number one issue, and Donald Trump had specific answers as to how he was going to turn this economy around.
McCoshen says the biggest election surprise to him was the number of people who didn't vote.
The overall turnout appears to be down from 2020.
By about 20 million voters. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Major stock indices soaring today in the wake of Donald Trump's decisive victory.
But why? One idea is that Trump policies will be pro-growth. Dave Spano is the president and CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Among the sectors doing well today, banking. You might see more mergers and activities, good for banks, good for brokers, good for M&A activity. At the macro level, Spano paints a picture of what could happen in 2025. I think you're going to see a pro-growth policy, really probably an anti-trade policy to some extent. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
The last time the Dow saw a 1,000-point jump in a single day was November of 2022.
Incumbent Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin has defeated a Republican challenger, Eric Hovde. Baldwin trailed Hovde for most of election night. Baldwin defeated him by a margin of 49.4 to 48.5%, about 29,000 votes. In a statement, Hovde says he isn't conceding and will continue to monitor returns and make sure that every vote is counted.
Wisconsin voters approve a constitutional amendment.
Right now, the Wisconsin Constitution says that every Wisconsin citizen who's at least 18 can vote. The amendment revises that language. It will now say only U.S. citizens can vote in federal, state, and local elections here in Wisconsin. Republicans across the country have been pushing for the change. Democrats worry the change will create hurdles for legal voters and lead people to believe that the problem of non-citizens voting is bigger than it really is. Jessica Ty, WTMJ News.
Coming up, a real-life lesson in civics.
Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 4:04.
This report is sponsored by Siding Unlimited. It's siding and a whole lot more. SidingUnlimited.com.
Here we are again, November. No more nice weather, Vember. Let's at least keep the cold and wet outside and do it with style with new Pella windows. Pella's, installed by Pella's 4-time National Platinum Certified Contractor of the Year, our own local and family-owned Siding Unlimited. No question that Pella windows are the best. Best looking, best functioning, best energy efficiency, and great choices with double hung casement, big bay windows, and even the in-window blinds to match your decor. And the best installer in the whole country is right here, our Siding Unlimited. That's the 4-time declaration by Pella Window Company of Pella, Iowa. Your first 2 easy choices. Number 1, Pella Windows. Number 2, Siding Unlimited. See all the other Pella choices at the unique Siding Unlimited Outside-In showroom, 665 Larry Court in Brookfield. They're waiting for you. What are you waiting for? SidingUnlimited.com.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at Right Choice Tax Resolution Services. We have recently talked with a number of new clients who told us the same story. They had a tax situation and went with one of those national firms with the TV and radio ads. You know the ones. They guarantee they can settle your tax owed for pennies on the dollar. They take a $10,000 fee up front, and then you never hear from them again. We are a local firm and just want to help you resolve your situation so you can get on with your life. Don't let your bank account get wiped out, your paycheck or Social Security check get garnished, or a lien put on your house so you can't sell it or get refinanced. The state can even put a hold on your occupational license. What happens when the hospital finds out your nursing license is suspended or you can't sell insurance anymore? Make the right choice and call 844-222-1192 or visit rightchoicetax.us today. Schedule a free meeting so we can talk and come up with a solution to solve your situation now. If you wait, it will not go away. The first meeting is free. Call now, 844-222-1192, or visit rightchoicetax.us.
Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time 4:06.
Teaching high school students about civics and elections.
Every student at Jesse Perez's social studies class at Shorewood High School is sworn into the class as a member of a legislature.
Each student sort of has a responsibility. They have to respond to their constituents. They explore their own ideas. They figure out where do they align maybe politically. And what are they interested in?
And discussions about political views from family.
Instead of trying to keep their views out, we try to teach students how to sort of navigate their parents' biases. And we talk a lot about bias in general and how we all bring something to the table.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. It's bye week for the Packers. Week 10 of the NFL season begins Thursday night with the Ravens hosting the Bengals, and the Bucs aim to snap a 6-game losing streak Thursday night at home against the Utah Jazz.
Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 4:07.
When you work with us, you'll know what you're going to get. And most importantly, you'll know exactly what you're going to pay us to list and sell your home. Talk to any Benefit Realty agent and ask about our commission. You will always get the same answer. You may find that others aren't ready to be as straightforward as we are right off the bat. They may try to meet with you first, and from there, you'll probably have to haggle your commission. And if you're lucky, you might be able to get them to reduce their commission to what we charge. But who wants that? Benefit Realty is going to make this easy for you, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. And we even one-up it from there. We cap our commission, so that no matter what size property you're selling for the listing side of your sale, your savings will be substantial. And if you're selling a luxury portfolio kind of home, substantial is an understatement. And finally, if you're not happy at any time with the service you're getting, we won't hold you to the term of your contract. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
Highly caffeinated.
God, thank goodness, because if I stop that caffeine, my head's going to hit this counter right here in like a half a second. Joined by two extraordinary hosts in their own right, Tori Lowe and Liz Brown. The Tori Lowe Show is on 101.7 The Truth in the afternoons. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Hey.
All right, your top observations. We've been going over the numbers, all this stuff, but I'm really interested in your top observations to Tori and Liz from last night's elections. Tori, you go first.
Well, there's a reason why things have changed in the state of Wisconsin. And I've been trying to tell people for a long time because I'm an advocate. I'm hearing the real concerns of the community. I'm out here all the time. I said this a year ago. and when it was with Joe Biden. And I was like, uh-oh, there's some problems out here. And the Democrats, the structure that they're using, a lot of people are going to push back against it. And then there was a lot of pushback with Joe Biden. Then they finally, after the debate, they replaced him with VP Kamala Harris.
Yep.
And she had 100 and some days to try to win people over. And I think that when you talk about, it's not about her, it's about the agenda. And I think that people were upset with the economic agenda, with a lot of ideas that were going on with the youth and the open borders. And I think that hurt them ultimately across America, and the people have spoken.
Liz, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much the same as Tory's. I just really feel like for both sides that this is a reality check and the power is back with the people. That both candidates can no longer take the people for granted. The smaller people. I think, Trump did an amazing job when he went down in the Bronx. A lot of individuals who was running for office forgot about the little people. He really made people feel seen and made them feel heard. And people just fail to forget that America's foundation are the working poor, and are the people that a lot of people overlook.
And Tori and Liz, you both said on this show who you were voting for, Donald Trump. So if there was a primary, if there was more time for, people to say, okay, the voters have spoken, that it's not going to be Biden, it's going to be Kamala for sure, and they voted on it, would you have considered her more?
No.
No, I think that it was the agenda that they was running. It was too far left. My grandmother was a Democrat. My family is Democrat, but it was moderate Democrat. We were moderates, conservative but moderate Democrats. But then when it started going too far to the left, I think a lot of people just kind of was like, well, what's going on? Open borders, inflation, things that were going on with the bathroom idea.
Yeah, that's the thing that you both brought up.
A lot of these issues were something where it was falling into the hands of the kids.
Yeah.
A lot of this was being in the kids arena when it should have been talked about in an adult arena. And so America has spoken.
Yeah.
Trump got the popular vote.
Right.
And she got landslided and never had a chance.
Right. She didn't overperform in any place from what Joe Biden did.
And
hey, Liz, let me ask you about Hovde.
Uh-huh.
So what happened with Eric Hovde? Because Donald Trump wins, and fairly easily by Wisconsin standards.
Yeah.
Eric Hovde on that same side of the ticket failed, didn't make it.
Yeah, I think, his biggest mistake was what went viral when he came out to 101
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And Milwaukee was.
I told you.
I mean, they went the opposite, which was Tammy Baldwin, and I think had he listened, to Tory Lowe,
hey.
I think he would have been all right. But the things that he did, being out of touch, and some wording that he used
that they played over and over and over again.
What was it?
Yeah,
it was. He came out to Juneteenth, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a disaster, no matter what, because he's not from the culture like that. So that played a factor, because that clip of him being at the Juneteenth played so many times during this election cycle, and that could have deterred a lot of black vote.
Because he turned him off, because he shouldn't have been.
Absolutely, because he related black people knowing black culture to putting up
shelters in Africa.
Yeah.
So, but this is a thing that went national. Like it was on the late night shows.
Yep.
It was
in
everywhere.
Commercials. It was
the YouTubers had it,
and he didn't lose. I thought he had a chance.
Yeah.
But those absentee ballots from Milwaukee,
right,
he was leading. I mean, I'm sure Tammy was sweating.
He was leading until the ballots came in at 4 in the morning.
When those ballots came in, it changed the game. And if he had a rose above 100 votes, just because it was only 100,000 ballots. If he had a rose above 100,000 votes on Tammy, they would have declared him the winner.
Yep. He's Tory Lowe. She's Liz Brown. Great perspective. Man, you guys get some rest. It's been a stretch.
I know. It's time to go to sleep. It's Elizabeth's birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh,
happy birthday to
you.
Make sure Tori gets you something nice or takes care of you.
He got me some flowers and he got me a little cake or whatever, but
card
and a card.
That's
yeah.
nice.
He got work to
Everybody
do.
sign it.
Good.
Everybody think you see.
You deserve every good thing that happens to you. And I know
Thank
Tori's such a
you.
good guy. I shouldn't have said that. I should have assumed. I should have assumed you did take care of her.
He did.
You guys are the best. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you for having us.
It's 4:14 at WTMJ. We check in with Mark Tauscher after traffic and weather up next.
Volleyball has a new home.
It's match point in Madison.
Catch all the excitement of the 2024 season.
Booth and Spreck putting up that Wisconsin wall.
And don't miss out on moments like this.
Booth dunks it down with two hands, and that's a point for Wisconsin. Set Spreck, Hill Franklin.
Badgers Volleyball on WTMJ is presented by Steinhoffels. Don't miss any of the action right here on Wisconsin's radio station, 620 WTMJ. Think you're smarter than the people you hear on the radio? Well, time to prove it with our Trivia Showdown. Brought to you by Quizmaster. Go head-to-head with WTMJ personalities in trivia competition. Check WTMJ.com or text trivia to the WTMJ talk and text line for a list of dates and locations of our next Trivia Showdown, benefiting Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive, only here on WTMJ.
Hey, John Mercure here for Annex Wealth Management. Annex is a fiduciary all the time, not just some of the time. They're required to operate in your best interest, and they do. Here's another bonus. You know what? At Annex, they don't sell a thing. That means no commission products. Their job is simple, to provide excellence when it comes to investment and retirement planning, along with tax and estate planning. You and your family deserve an investment and retirement plan that's well-crafted, efficient, and focused on your goals. Annex works to help you get to the retirement that you deserve. Annex is a local, independent firm with 7 locations in Wisconsin and northern Illinois, and they'll meet you right where you are on your retirement journey. There's Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It all starts when you visit annexwealth.com. Michelle and I did that years ago. Hit that Get Started button, ba-boom. It only takes a couple of minutes. It's Annex Wealth Management. Fee-only fiduciary all the time. The teams I trust are at Annex. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
Relax on Thanksgiving Day. Enjoy the magnificent buffet at the historic Fox and Hounds restaurant. It's all you care to eat. Kids and grandkids under 3 eat for free. Reserved today. It's the famous Fox and Hounds. Traffic and weather. Debbie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Well, we got, looks like a broken down vehicle on the ramp from 894 southbound to the Rock Freeway southbound. They're saying that you might need to expect lane closures because of this. But at this point, we're just basically seeing delays Greenfield Avenue all the way down to about Oklahoma Avenue, then Beloit Road down into the Hale. So heads up with that. Westbound 94, we've got delays from about 25th Street through to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound 94's got a heavy pocket from 76th Street all the way to Holly Road and through the Stadium Interchange as well. Southbound 43 is backed up from Fond du Lac Avenue all the way down to the KK River. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. Friday, sunny, 59. Saturday, showers late in the day, a high of 58. Sunday, showers early in the day, a high of 63. Right now, it's cloudy and 50 degrees.
He wore the jersey.
Schemes are great. Great players are better.
And now he's breaking down every play with his trademark flair.
I feel like I'm a smart person most of the time, but there's some things I just don't get.
It's time to get caught up on the green and gold with today's Insider.
If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
Packers Hall of Famer, Mark Tauscher.
Hey, Tausch, thanks for hanging out with us.
Always a pleasure.
Were you up late last night watching the results? Got your spreadsheet going? Were you into it?
I was, obviously we all care about what is going on, but I didn't stay up. I'm guaranteeing you I didn't stay up as late as what you two did.
It was a late night for sure. Yes. Politics in general, is it talked about a lot in the locker room? I mean, I guess the locker room's like any other workspace, right? Is politics a part of what gets discussed?
For sure. And the beauty of it is you have, just a bunch of different, from a football standpoint, a bunch of different dudes from a bunch of different backgrounds with different experiences. And Yeah, I think the great part about it is you get a really good understanding, and I think people, nowadays I think it's even probably more where it's maybe guarded. I just remember back in our day, it was a very open forum that I think you let a lot of stuff. You spoke your mind, and then you'd have discussions, and a lot of times you'd learn something, and maybe I don't know if you ever changed people's minds, but you'd have some really fun debates.
Is it a safe space to have those sort of discussions? Is that part of the sacredness of the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly hope so. I think there's you're not going to be best friends with everybody. Obviously, you're not going to align politically on everything, but most of the time, guys had a lot more in common than I think people out in the outside world would think.
That's an interesting way to put it, because in the newsroom, it's the same way. Like Aaron Rodgers from California and Brett Favre of the South love California, and people are from all over. So it's interesting that you have that perspective and they have that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I just think in general, most people want the same stuff. Like, it's just a matter of how you go about getting there. And that's the part that I think is always it just gets so polarizing, and nobody really hears each other out. And that was the beauty of being in the locker room, is you would hear yourself out because you'd hear each other out because you're playing backgammon, you're throwing cards, and it's not like we talk politics all the time, but obviously around the elections and things like that, you'd have those discussions. And if there were big events in the world, so you'd have those discussions. You get a really good chance to learn a lot about what makes people tick.
Mark Tauscher with us on WTMJ. Packers heading into the bye week. I want to ask you about the bye week. We'll ask about the Packers in a second. But first, the bye week in general, is it a week to spend more time with your family? Is it a week to recharge? Tell me about a Mark Tauscher typical bye week when you were in the league.
Well, I didn't get married until my last year and a half. So I don't, I think the big thing for me, especially when I was playing, early in my career, it was about getting away. And the physical part of it, everybody thinks, well, that's the biggest part. You go, and if you have a knee or an ankle, get off your feet, kick back, and relax. But it was always about the mental part of it, because I don't think I can illustrate how stressful and how on you have to be every day. And you just know what's coming, and you have to prepare, and it can be really overwhelming mentally. So I think when you let that pass and just kind of take a beat, get away from it, you mentally just get so recharged by having that week off where you're not thinking about anything but whatever you want to think about. And if you want to go to Mexico or if you want to go on a trip somewhere, great. But it's just a total cleansing of everything. And then you come back so fresh mentally that you feel better physically. I don't know if that makes sense, but that was what I always looked at.
No, it does.
Yeah,
you're like doing 24/7. And Jason Kelsey was talking about how, like, after a game up until like Thursday, he's feeling a little bit better. And then by Saturday or Thursday when they're playing a game, or Friday night football, back to being beat up. So I guess it might help in that aspect too.
For sure. The physical part is obviously you get a full week to kind of recover. You're not practicing, and your body starts wondering, oh boy, this feels good. And then obviously you get shocked back when you have the next practice. But it's just, I can't tell you how important, especially early in my career, just getting that time to get away when you have all these thoughts and you're trying to figure things out. It's such a important part. And that's, I think if the bye actually did for the Packers fall at a perfect time. You have guys that are injured, but it's such a slog, and to split it right down the middle like they did this year, you hope that that's a total recharge for the second half of the season.
Mark Tauscher is with us. All right, Tausch, tell us about one fantastic bye-week trip, maybe a getaway to Cabo, or tell us about one of the cool places you spent your bye week.
So most of the time, because I had my then girlfriend down here, I would try to get back and go to a Badger game. I think there was one time we went out to Las Vegas for like a 2 or 3 day trip. But now you have to remember, back in my day, and I sound super old, we didn't get a full week. Like, we would practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and then maybe get out of there Thursday. So we'd get 2 or 3 days and then have to be back in Green Bay on that Sunday or Monday. Now, at the back end of my career, we'd get off the full week, and that's when you could start. But in all honesty, the last thing I wanted to do at that point was deal with travel snafus, and I just wanted to go and chill and hang out.
I agree. I'd be like so worried if I get back.
And then you'd have to make sure you're back, and so there was never a time where it's like, man, I really want. You do that after the season. You go to Cabo, or John, just like a normal week for you. You go to Italy or to Ireland.
Come on.
I'm just stating facts. You know, but it's
Don't be
more
a
about
hater.
I'm not hating. I'm appreciating. I just think you look at it from that perspective of how can I just shut my mind off? And when you're traveling, you know, unless you're pampered like you and you get all that stuff taken care of, you do have to worry about all that stuff.
Hey, Tausch, do the coaches get nervous because the guys are out of the building for a week and they're back with their buddies?
I'm sure they do. It's not as much as like in college when guys do that, but there's no doubt. I think anytime the coaches don't have their guys in front of them, they're always wondering, I hope that these guys make good judgments. It's like your kids. I hope that when they're going to do this, I hope they don't do anything stupid. And normally they don't, but occasionally someone does, and then you have to try to figure it out and move on.
Do the coaches get away too, or are LaFleur and his team pretty much locked up there?
I would think, and I know Jason talked to LaFleur about that. It's a case where you still have some work to do, but go ahead, spend time with your family, because coaches, they probably need it more so than the players from a mental standpoint, because the hours that they put in is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can kind of move forward and get out of there, I think it's really healthy for them too.
All right, Tausch, you and I are going to take our listeners from both stations on a trip together. Let's do that.
Excellent.
You can pick the location and maybe 25, 26.
You know what, John? I just love busting your chops. I'm not sure. Then I'd lose that Trump card. I don't know if that's something I want to do.
That's what I'm aiming for. That's my goal.
Amen.
Mark Tauscher, Wilde and Tausch, 9 a.m. to noon on ESPN. Always fun stuff. Thank you, Mark. Yep.
You bet. See you guys.
Yep. Hey, stocks soaring today. Records after Trump's comeback to the White House. It's the Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow up 1,500 points, 3.5%. The NASDAQ rising 544 points. That's almost 3%. The S&P was up 146, 2.5 points. Annex Wealth Management know the difference.
Craft your Brewers mini plan for the 2025 season, featuring all new 6-packs and 12-packs. Get in on the action with great ticket rates, marquee matchups, and priority seating. Plus, you'll get a limited edition Brewers Crowler with each 12-pack or pair of 6-packs. Looking to customize your games to fit your schedule? Build your own ticket plan options are also available. Pick the plan for you at brewers.com/ticket finder.
Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning, best in the business. I love Guthrie and Fry because they do the little things. They come out and they're doing something at your house this time of year. They might bring the hose into the garage. Actually, that's a real story. That's what they did for the homeowner just because they saw it. Help with dog toys laying around the yard, inside your house. They're just going to help do the things that you need done. That's while they're putting in that water softener or reverse osmosis system. I have both of those. My water is crisp, clean, clear. It is Guthrie and Fry. Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry, Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Looking for a fun family activity to get into the holiday spirit? Visit or volunteer for Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive in Grafton on Saturday, December 7th. The event is free and we will have lots of fun activities. Capco is dedicated to bring communities together and has collected over 300,000 toys through Kids to Kids. Join us and WTMJ for a celebration of giving and bring a new unwrapped toy to help children in need this holiday season. Support Kids to Kids. Visit kidstoKidstoydrive.com.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts? Make them wider.
Gina Della from Pella, how'd you get into the booth?
And why just yellow? Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, you can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want.
Right now, get 0% interest for 60 months.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Hold your appointment on or before November 8th. Certain restrictions apply.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 4:30. I'm John Mercure. Your top story: historic brewery closing.
I'm Julia Fellow, honoring 2 local aldermen.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Still seeing delays along southbound 43. A little pocket south of Hampton down to Capitol, and then back on the brakes from south of North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette interchange over the high-rise bridge onto 4394 southbound. Does not really let up till you get past the KK River. Westbound 94 is backed up out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound, a heavy ride there from before 84th Street all the way through to 35th. And southbound on the bypass, got some backups out of the Zoo interchange down towards Lincoln, back on the brakes from Oklahoma Avenue down and around the Hale interchange onto 894 eastbound. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Type Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ forecast for tonight: partly cloudy, a low of 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. Right now in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 50 degrees.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Molson Coors has announced plans for the closure of the historic Leinenkugel's Brewery in Chippewa Falls.
The brewing giant tells WTMJ the decision to close the Northwestern Wisconsin brewery is a result of the end of a large contract brewing agreement, and that operations will now shift to their main site in Milwaukee's Miller Valley. In a statement to WTMJ, former Leinenkugel's president Dick Leinenkugel says none of his family was made aware of or counseled on the decision. Molson Coors adds the Leine Lodge and adjacent pilot brewery in Chippewa Falls will remain open year-round. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A settlement has been reached between grocery chain Kroger and several U.S. states, including Wisconsin, addressing the chain's role in the opioid crisis. Wisconsin would receive just under $22 million beginning early next year for opioid abatement. In addition, Kroger has agreed to injunctive release that requires pharmacies to monitor, report, and share data about suspicious activity related to opioid prescriptions. Kroger operates more than 100 grocery stores across our state under its own name and its subsidiaries.
One of the 2 suspects in the death of a toddler from Two Rivers making his preliminary court appearance this afternoon. Jesse Vang facing multiple felonies, including physical abuse of a child connected to the death of 3-year-old Elijah Vu. Manitowoc County District Attorney Jacqueline Labrie.
What type of evidence was law enforcement able to utilize to put together that time period of where he was that evening?
We had accumulated text messages, cell tower information from phone companies, information from phone extractions, and video surveillance from multiple different places or businesses.
Vu's mother, Katrina Bauer, is also charged in connection to his death.
Decision Wisconsin: control over the state assembly and state senate will remain in the hands of the GOP. Of the 4 state senate races, 2 were contested. Republican Eric Wimberger wins the race for 2nd District. In the other, the tight race for the 8th District, Democrat Jody Habush-Sinekin beats incumbent Republican Dewey Strobel. In the Assembly, Republicans won all 4 of their races.
A somber moment at Milwaukee City Hall.
Alderman Terry Wachowski and our dear friend and colleague, Alderman Jonathan Brostoff, were leaders and advocates. They were also our colleagues and friends. The condolences of this entire body go out to their families.
Council President Jose Perez honoring Brostoff and former Alderman Witkowski, who both died this past week. The medical examiner's office says Brostoff died from suicide and that Witkowski died of natural causes.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The bye weeks continues for the Packers, but not for Preston Smith, who was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers before yesterday's deadline. And the Bucs aim to snap a 6-game losing streak tomorrow night against the Utah Jazz at home.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 4:33.
Second only to skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common cancer in women. While diagnosis can be overwhelming, it is survivable. With us to tell us more is Dr. Jasmine Walker, a surgical oncologist specializing in breast cancer with the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. Dr. Walker, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, John.
How about starting with a brief overview of breast cancer?
More than 300,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. The risk of developing breast cancer increases with age, which is true for every woman. It's important to work with your doctor to develop a breast health plan based on your personal risk factors, including family history.
Why are annual mammograms so important to surviving breast cancer?
Annual mammograms are what we use as a screening test to look for breast cancer even in women who aren't having any symptoms. For average risk women, this would start at age 40, and it's important because early detection gives you your best chance of survival and the most treatment options. About 99% of women who have breast cancer that is detected early are still alive 5 years after diagnosis.
Are there some specific groups of women who face greater challenges in surviving breast cancer?
Yes, there are. All women should be proactive about their breast health, keeping up with screenings, self-exams, and medical checkups, but some women need to be particularly vigilant. We're seeing breast cancer incidence increase slightly, most notably among younger women. Black and Hispanic women tend to develop more aggressive subtypes of breast cancer, and they tend to be diagnosed with breast cancer when it's more advanced. Although the incidence rates are lower for Black, Hispanic, and Asian American and Native American women than for white women, these minority groups are more likely to die from their breast cancer. This is especially true for Black women. Multiple factors influence survival rates, but the higher death rates can be due to later diagnosis and less access to high-quality treatment.
You can find a doctor who's right for you by visiting freightert.com. Dr. Walker, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks, John. Have a great day.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Thanks for joining us on Wisconsin's afternoon news. Election results for some folks can feel like the end of the world if your candidate loses. I mean, it can really be bad. It's been an anxious time with what's been happening leading into the election, and then an emotional night last night. Our friend Megan Anderson, therapist in a couch is her practice, is with us this afternoon. Megan, thank you so much for making some time for us.
Oh, I'm happy to. Thanks for having me again.
You know, I think anxiety can be a natural response to uncertainty, and there was a lot of uncertainty. What are you telling people that are waking up today or in the next few days may realize that I'm really sad, I'm really upset, I don't feel right about how things sit?
That's a good question, and I think if I'm being honest, it's probably one that I am learning the answer to on the fly a little bit here today. It's a weird space to be sitting in, but I think I'd probably start by saying you're in really good company. I think that there is a good portion of our nation that is still reeling from what happened last night and what we're learning this morning as we woke up. And I'd say, too, one of the pieces of data that we've been really learning over these last few election cycles is that this is a huge, huge significant source of stress for everybody across our nation, and it continues to grow.
Okay, so what if you have a friend that's on the other side of the aisle, either way, and or a family member, and you're in these group texts? What do you do if you keep getting upset or you're upsetting them?
You know, I was wondering if that was a question that was going to come up today when we talked, and I think that that is probably the question and I'm assuming everybody else is grappling with quite a bit. I described it earlier to my sister-in-law as sort of the thorn in my side at the moment. And I really think one of the pieces that I want us to remember, okay, maybe a few, is we are all really geared towards connection. And right now, it just might be really hard to connect. And I hope that we can all learn to give ourselves some space for that to be okay. And maybe right now we need a pause, and maybe we need to tell our loved ones, hey, I'm not really in a space to digest this and to talk about it. I'd love to try to come back around and have conversation about any other topic, or I'd love for us to maybe revisit conversation in a week, a few days, maybe it's even a month. And so knowing it's okay to take a break and to put a pause on there and let people know that we might just need a little bit of time.
You know, Megan, we've talked in the past about how social media can be ugly and nasty and the rhetoric is tough. What about when social media, like in this case, is making you sad and it's hurting you and it hurts your heart because you look at it and people are celebrating and people are dancing around and your candidate who you thought was the best in the world maybe didn't do as well as you thought? Is there advice on how to handle social media or whether to shut it off for a while, or what do you recommend?
Well, I'd love for it to be as simple as let's get off of it for a little bit. But I'll be honest, I've been telling myself that all day today, and I don't even think I've stuck to my own advice. And so it makes me ask a really critical question, which I'd ask of anybody who's maybe struggling to get off of social media, especially if it's not a way of taking care of themselves at that moment. I would ask myself or anybody else, when I continue to engage in something that is not in line with me taking care of myself, what is that about? And, you know, I think for me, it was maybe wanting some validation or some normalization. I honestly think it was about also looking for some reassurance and hoping some people had some good words of wisdom this morning. And so just genuinely asking yourself, you know, this thing that I'm doing that's not so good for me, what purpose is it serving? Because it's probably doing something. Otherwise, we wouldn't keep breaking our own rules.
What I notice is a lot of people get upset when they're not in control of something. And, you know, America voted. But, you know, I don't know. Do you have any tips for some people who are trying to remedy this in some way? You know, some people just cannot take it.
Yeah, I think if we're having a hard time taking it, I would want to call a spade there a little bit and acknowledge that likely what's happening is a really intense form of grief. And that makes so much sense to me. I mean, we woke up this morning, and for a lot of us, the world is maybe not the world we thought it once was. And the next 4 years are not going to look how we were hoping or expecting them to. And so I really think it's a matter of let's give ourselves a little bit of space. I mean, we're not even, 12 hours into this news breaking. And so I really think letting ourselves have a chance to take a beat, take a rest. I know that that's maybe really hard for some of us to do too when we think about some of the crises happening across the globe. And I would try and tell people to have a little faith that when you're taking a break also isn't collectively when everyone else in the universe is taking a break. So you can take a breath. Other people are stepping up to the plate. And they'll need to take a breath, and you'll step back up to the plate. And it's really about giving yourself a little space to breathe, take the dust off your shoulders, and do what you need to do so you can gear back up and stay politically motivated and involved. Because for a lot of us, that is actually what feels good and what feels best when we feel like things around us are crumbling.
Hey, Megan, we've got less than a minute, but we've been talking about what if your candidate is the one that lost and how you deal with it. What if your candidate is the one that won? How important is empathy?
I think empathy is huge. Just like I would want to hold empathy for people 4 years ago, I don't think I want to rub it in anybody's face. I think the fact of the matter is right now, with how our political climate looks in our nation, it is stressing all of us out. I think that is something we all on a fundamental level can agree with. And I hope that we could really get to a place where we can see that for each other, because I think that that will foster empathy. In my perfect world, that is what would start gearing us back up towards healing and finding a new way of being.
You can find Megan Anderson at Therapist and a Couch. Good advice. Thank you, Megan.
Oh, thanks, you guys. Take good care.
You know what else, John? Just for the record, you know, in 2016, when Trump won and I was posting President-elect, someone said, "Oh, goodbye," on my Facebook fan page. And you can't just put your fingers in your ears, too. You have to listen to both sides, because I saw this coming. But if you're only listening to one side and you're not listening to both, then yes, you could be caught off guard. And that goes for both sides. You can't just stay in your bubble. You got to listen to everyone.
Yeah, listen. Yep, that's a very good point. Hey, coming up, how's the business community in Milwaukee responding to the election results? That's straight ahead.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I love my dogs, Bella and Baxter. Sit means sit dog training. They are the real deal. They've helped me have better dogs. Happy, confident, obedient. That's Bella and Baxter now. Thanks to Sit means sit dog training, you can schedule a free consultation. That's how we started all those years ago. A free consultation. Matt and his teams met us. They've got the best techniques. They've got the best trainers. They've got the best stuff. It's Sit means sit dog training. You can have a dog that's just in a better spot, and your house will be in a lot better spot. It's Sit means sit dog training.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
By now you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semper Fi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lazica, how are the roads looking?
Well, we do still have a little bit of a backup along southbound 894 from about Oklahoma Avenue down through the Hale interchange onto 894 eastbound. We got eastbound 94 backing up a bit from the Barker Road interchange all the way to Brookfield Road, and then 92nd Street through to 35th. Westbound slowing from 25th Street all the way to Holly Road. And we've got more backups on southbound 43 from North Avenue down through the Marquette and over the High Rise Bridge. I'm Debbie Laziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight will be partly cloudy, a low 40 degrees, wind gusts up to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny, a high of 59 degrees. Then some showers this weekend. Saturday, increasing clouds, showers late, a high of 58 degrees. Sunday morning, showers breezy, a high of 63 degrees.
All right, we're talking a lot about the election. Right now, Donald Trump sits at 291 electoral votes. He is the president-elect for all intents and purposes. What does that mean for the business community here in southeast Wisconsin in particular? We are joined by Andrew Davis. He's the vice president of government affairs for the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. Andrew, thank you so much for making some time for us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
New maps, which really changed how things turned out. As I sat in the studio last night, hour after hour, and the results came in, it was readily apparent how close the voting was and how the districts are. When you think about the maps and what happened, did anything surprise you last night?
Not too many surprises, no, but there were some changes. The Senate Republicans lost 4 seats, and these majorities are going to slim up a bit. The Assembly's lost 10 seats, And, one of those races in the Senate was on a really closely watched race here locally in the 8th Senate District between Dewey Strobel and Jody Habush-Sankin. So, we look forward to working with Senator-elect Hankin. And, we'll miss working with Senator Strobel, who cared a lot about issues that we cared in the business community, like school choice. So,
Was he Saukville I think it was Saukville.
Yeah, Saukville, Cedarburg.
Okay, so that was Ozaukee County.
Yeah.
Which Trump got. So that's interesting.
And I went to bed last night and it looked like he was going to win.
It was close.
Interesting.
And he woke up this morning and he did not win. So what about Democrats chipping away at that margin in the Assembly and in the Senate? I had someone make the comment today that they didn't take the Senate, but they put themselves in a really good position to potentially flip the Senate in 26, or at least for these districts to remain really, really competitive moving forward.
We expected some changes. We knew there was going to be some bleeding here. But they chewed into some of those majorities. And, in the Senate, they took 4 seats. That's slimmed down to 18 now for the Republicans and 15 Democrats coming back when they come into the new session. And in the Assembly, for the Republicans, they lost 10 seats, and they're down to 54 seats now. There were some good holds around Milwaukee and some other seats, but there were some seats that they picked up around the state elsewhere.
So there was a survey that you had with all of your members with MMAC to look at what the legislative priorities should be for our state, and what did they say?
So we recently sent out a survey to our membership, and that was to check in and make sure we're going to be advocating and spending our time working on the issues that they want us to. No real surprises there. A lot of the same old hits. Education, number 1, tax climate, regulatory climate, infrastructure, and immigration.
Well, the referendums were definitely in
For
full
sure,
bloom.
big time. I want to ask you this question about the referendums because we can go through the scorecard, and we've been doing that. How many passed? I think 14 of the 15 passed. How do we fix a broken funding system? You guys spend a lot of time on education, and this antiquated system has led every school district literally in Wisconsin, except for 2, I think, to ask for a referendum in the last 10 years. It's clear the funding system and formula is broken, isn't it?
I would agree that this message getting sent to Madison as these districts keep going to referendum for more funding, there's a message clearly being sent across Democrat and Republican districts everywhere in the state that there's something that needs to be reconciled and some reform here to help them so that the property taxes just don't continue to go up and up every year as they go to referendum.
It's just, when you talk to school districts, are they frustrated? Do they sense, is there a sense of desperation? A lot of these are operational. This isn't asking to get a new field house built.
Right. I wouldn't say desperation, but it's a need. And, if they can't go to referendum and these don't pass, like did in most communities, I think there were almost 140 referendums statewide.
Wow.
Locally here, 11 districts went to referendum. 14 of those 15 passed. And that totaled nearly $600 million.
Interesting.
This isn't a new trend by any means, but the message is being sent to Madison that some reform needs to happen on how we fund schools and prioritize that spending.
And so we want to look at how the House and Senate and the new president-elect is going to affect our business here. And the first thing is tariffs.
Right. Well, there's been a lot of talk about tariffs, and we'll be watching those issues closely, not just tariffs, but tax and regulatory climate, domestic energy production, and some of the green policy that's been on the books, and education spending, and again, immigration. These are ones that we're going to have to watch and see how they unfold as the new administration takes place in Washington.
Wouldn't that affect local businesses, though, that maybe want to, they can't get chips. Chips aren't made here. Is that going to affect the bottom line that you're keeping an eye on?
It does. It's a little bit difficult of a question to answer, only because our members, those manufacturers, those tariffs are going to hit them on the things that they need to put into the products that they're making.
So I want to ask you about tariffs because Donald Trump says it's a useful tool. In some instances, there's no doubt it probably is. But can it also hurt consumers? Can it lead to higher prices? Can it lead to they're not going to just absorb that and not charge me more for what I'm purchasing from them if they're getting hit selling a product that came in with a big tariff attached to it? Can it be dangerous for consumers, the implementation of tariffs?
I don't want to use the word dangerous, but it can definitely impact them greater than is being discussed. We'll have to see what kind of deal gets struck and what they put on the table and decide how we weigh in and how those are going to be implemented.
What about the green policy? That's interesting about how that could change. Like, solar farms, maybe windmills that are made here in Wisconsin.
There was a lot of discussion on the campaign on how they viewed those policies and what they plan to do day one in office. a lot of companies here locally, and not just in Wisconsin, but nationally, have invested heavily in that infrastructure. So again, we'll see what kind of plans put on the table and what deals brokered.
Domestic energy production. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that priority might change under this administration?
I plan for it to change. I think it's going to. We're already the largest producer in oil and gas, and that's been a primary issue for the campaign as they ran to Election Day this year. So I think you're going to see some regulatory reform there, and you're going to see some obstacles cleared, and hopefully you'll start to see some of that energy prices come down.
You think that it will? Because we're seeing We Energies, for example.
Well, they want a rate increase for sure. They do every single year. It's
right.
Like part of just their normal conversation.
They want to keep those numbers down, but it keeps going up.
Will federal drilling expand, do you believe?
I think it will, and I know they're going to push hard to make that happen.
I think people would be surprised to know that we're the leading nation when it comes to oil and gas production. I think most people just assume it's Saudi Arabia or it's somewhere in the Middle East, but it's actually the United States.
And they had a good record when Trump was in last time in those 4 years in making this a priority. So, I mean, we'll see what they can get done with divided government in Washington.
And there's a lot of people in Wisconsin who are in unions. So they might be keeping an eye on the fact that Donald Trump is back in office. And there was actually a really big union that backed him. So, I mean, what is the temperature on unions and how they feel about him being in office?
Well, as some of these infrastructure projects get built out and some of those jobs start to get created, those are going to affect those unions. And I think that's part of the reason that they endorsed Trump in some of those instances.
Andrew Davis is the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce. And peek behind the curtain, his office is like right down the hallway here. We could tap on the wall and Andrew can say, "All right, I'm on my way."
Come visit anytime.
Yeah, we will. We'll take you up on that. You got a nice suite of offices over there. Andrew, thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate the perspective. Coming up during the 5 o'clock hour, Bob Donovan is with us live. Bob Donovan is like a chameleon. He's from district to district and office to office. He has been elected again. He'll be with us. Charles Benson is with us live. And from UW-La Crosse, Anthony Chergowski on what the maps meant to the races last night. All that during the 5 o'clock hour. Here's your business headlines.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Arizona-based Pickleball Kingdom selects a new site for its first Milwaukee area location. The company will develop a facility in Menominee Falls on Shawn Circle at the former home of Multicolor Corporation. Associated Bank Corporation reduces its retail banking network with the planned closure of 4 branch offices. 3 of those offices are in Wisconsin and 1 is in Illinois. Raising Cane's national chicken finger chain aims to grow to 1,000 restaurants by 2026. Wisconsin will be part of that growth, with 2 new restaurants in 2025 in Janesville and La Crosse, bringing the state's total locations to 7. I'm Linda Spice with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Celebrate timeless tradition, revel in newly renovated spaces, and experience all that the Pfister Hotel has to offer this holiday season. From an elegant Thanksgiving brunch to the spectacular ceremony lighting the 18-foot lobby tree to the ever-popular breakfast with Santa, there is much to enjoy for both the young and young at heart. Experience the magic of the holidays. Book your stay today at thepfisterhotel.com.
Report sponsored by the Pfister Hotel. Make your reservations today. Visit thepfisterhotel.com.
Al Leidinger, president of Matheson Manufacturing, needed better document imaging technology rather badly. Then came a James Imaging Systems sales representative to the rescue.
Tammy Oliver actually walked in the door one day and introduced herself and showed us the new features that the Toshiba had compared to our old copier. So we ended up signing up with them.
Now, after the sale, is your James Imaging Systems sales rep's customer service meeting your expectations?
Yes, she still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
James Imaging Systems. Better document imaging technology, better support, amazing people.
There's a true personal relationship, and we've been very happy with them.
Less than happy with your current document imaging vendor? Make the switch to James Imaging Systems. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. Unfortunately, it's not too early to start thinking about those upcoming heating bills. At Hometown's huge New Berlin showroom, you can compare energy-efficient windows from Anderson, Pella, Marvin, and more. Like me, you'll get a dedicated project consultant to guide you to the products that best fit your home, style, and budget, along with employee carpenters who respect your home. Do what I did. Contact Hometown Windows and Doors today. Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. 414-329-1200 or online at hometownwindows.com.
Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. When I think of Azura, I think of compassion. I think of empathy. They have kindness at the core. Azura will take care of your loved one like it's a member of their own family. 15 locations in our state, 5 here in the Milwaukee area. Wisconsin-based and family-owned, it's Azura Living. They provide residents with everything that they need to live a happy life. It's AzuraLiving.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top-quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
The place to get caught up, to speak out, to connect and be entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, how Milwaukee really did on election night.
I'm Julia Fellow, shifting loyalties to support the president-elect.
I'm Debbie Laziga. Southbound on 41, a heavy ride from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. Eastbound 94, slowing down just before Barker Road, all the way down over to Brookfield Road. And then again from 92nd Street all the way through the stadium. Westbound side's backed up from 25th Street out to about Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Debbie Laziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, partly cloudy, low 40. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58. It's currently 49 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, state and local election officials say they're happy with how the election turned out, even if it was a late night. In Milwaukee County, the final votes were tabulated just before 4 a.m., with nearly 31,000 votes being retabulated after an error concerning voting machines. Despite the setback, Milwaukee Election Commission Director Paulina Gutierrez says the day went pretty much as expected.
The city of Milwaukee, we've been planning this election since the beginning of the year. I'm really proud of the people I got to work with today. We had hundreds of Milwaukeeans come in and help at Central Count. It was a long day, but we got it done.
108,000 votes were tallied at Central Count.
Vice President Kamala Harris offers her concession speech this afternoon after Donald Trump's comeback election victory at her alma mater, Howard University. The vice president offering reassurance to her supporters.
To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay.
Repeating a line she often said on the campaign trail, "When we fight, we win," Harris told the crowd to keep moving forward.
Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up.
Vice President Harris called President-elect Trump earlier today. They spoke for several minutes. She congratulated him on the win.
Second Trump administration is likely to have a big impact on the balance of power in the electric vehicle space.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk has spent much of the last few months campaigning for former President Trump.
Musk, made a strategic bet on Trump.
Wedbush Securities tech analyst Dan Ives says in addition to easing the regulatory environment for Tesla's autonomous vehicle ambitions, another Trump term is likely to double down on Chinese vehicle tariffs.
That's bullish for Tesla in terms of just ultimately protecting the market.
Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says he is in full support of Trump presidency, despite the pair having butted heads in the past.
When President Trump was in town, he didn't say anything negative. So I take that as a big positive, that we are all on the same team. We're all focused on making sure that we get the agenda enacted that we all support. And I think that's going to resonate as it becomes law in D.C., and we'll do the same thing here in Madison.
Speaker Vos officially endorsed the president-elect in March. He had previously refused to take steps to overturn Trump's loss in Wisconsin during the 2020 election.
Stock market is soaring the day after the election.
But not every sector is flourishing. Dave Spano is the president and CEO of Annex Wealth Management.
Solar stocks are down, but banking stocks are up. And so you're just seeing money move from one side of the washing machine to the next.
Stocks tied to clean energy, vaccines, and China are largely down due to fears of a possible trade barrier.
So if you are a retailer here in the United States and you're a low-cost provider and you get a lot of your goods from China, you're not doing great.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Coming up, getting this future prediction wrong.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:04.
So if you're selling a $2 million home and you found yourself what you thought was a pretty good deal on your real estate commission, at say about 3.6%, you'd pay $72,000 in real estate commission. Not bad, right? Well, your Benefit Realty agent will charge you no more than $19,000 no matter what size property you're selling for the listing side of your sale. And it all comes with the full service you'd expect from an experienced real estate brokerage. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. Now, I say this because that's a pretty big number, but I also bring it up because it's always been cool for us to save our clients money. It's not about being the top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission with a cap on our commission for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:06.
A usually reliable TV prognosticator has gotten it wrong.
When it comes to predicting the future, Homer, Marge, Bart, and Lisa have had an uncanny winning streak. But they missed the mark with this election.
Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president.
That was a grown-up Lisa on an episode in 2000, wearing a look-alike Kamala Harris purple pantsuit and pearls.
My administration will focus on the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and refilling the ocean.
The back-to-back visuals went viral after Harris replaced President Biden as the Democratic nominee in July. The show has predicted everything from the January 6th riot to the Game of Thrones finale and the COVID pandemic. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update. Let's check it out. Gruber Law Office's Sports Desk. Bye week for the Packers. Week 10 of the NFL season does begin tomorrow night with the Ravens hosting the Bengals. And the Bucs aim to snap a 6-game losing streak tomorrow night at home against the Utah Jazz.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:07.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik here for Flanner's Home Entertainment. Does the audio and video system in your home need an upgrade? Well, Flanner's has all the solutions and the installation experts to simplify and upgrade your home entertainment experience. Forget about the impersonable big box stores and risky online purchases. You go with locally owned Flanner's, where quality service, the best brands, and guaranteed best price remain top priorities. Stop by Flanner's in West Dallas, Grafton, or at Flanners.com. Sound advice at the best price. Just press play.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Be greeted by an owner at America's largest employee-owned jewelry store.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
All right, glad that you're with us on this day after the election. A lot of stuff happened. We talked a lot about the presidency. We've talked a lot about the U.S. Senate race here in Wisconsin. And guess what? Assembly redistricting meant that there was a lot of very interesting stuff when it came to the state assembly and state senate. Bob Donovan, one of the good guys, longtime politician, longtime council member, and now a winner again in the assembly. Thank you so much for being with us, Bob. Congratulations.
Well, thanks so much, John. I appreciate it, and happy to be with you here today.
This race got kind of nasty. It got kind of in a way I wasn't expecting. What did it catch you off guard?
Well, to some extent, I guess it did. It was a very nasty race, but I will tell you, I've never backed down from a good fight, and I'm pleased that we were able to win this and continue serving the residents of Greenfield and Greendale and Hales Corners and Milwaukee in the state legislature. So I'm looking forward to this next term.
Now, Democrats really chipped away at the margin in the assembly. Are you surprised by that? Did that kind of make you feel kind of worried about the outcome for your election last night?
Well, I've been out doing doors since April, first beginning with nomination signatures and continuing and talking to folks every day. I felt good about the responses we were getting at the doors, but certainly in any race, and, it's what's surprising to me, and, my background is as alderman in Milwaukee, and my first run for alderman, I spent $3,000 on the campaign, and two of it was my own money. So now we're seeing such huge amounts of money being spent. I'm told that my opponent spent upwards of $3 million. So this is unconscionable as far as I'm concerned for an assembly seat that pays $53,000 a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I saw her commercials. Yeah, I was like,
incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, just a ton of commercials and so on. And, of course, TV is expensive. But those are the numbers that we're looking at in some of these contested races. And my district, the newly designed district, leans Democratic. So, but, I've worked with Democrats all of my political career. And every one of the bills I was able to get past my first term was on a bipartisan basis. And I'm pleased to say that, and I'm looking forward to working again to address common sense issues that can help make a difference and improve our communities.
Bob Donovan's with us. So, Bob, one of the decisions you're going to get to make early on is whether or not Robin Vos should remain the Speaker. Do you think Robin Vos should remain the Speaker?
I do. I support Robin. I look at the qualities that a speaker and a leader of our party needs to have, and I believe Robin has those qualities, and he's proven it over the years. So I'm looking forward to supporting Robin in his pursuit of the speakership.
How easy is Governor Tony Evers to work with?
Well, he's a nice guy. He signed all of our bills. He's very congenial kind of individual. Really haven't sat down too much with him to discuss issues beyond just cursory, welcome to the legislature kind of meeting. But I'm looking forward to working with him if we can get things done. I hear from folks at the doors that they want government to work, and we ought to be able to find ways, regardless of the party that you belong to, if these are issues that impact us all, we ought to find ways to address these issues and get the job done.
If you're going to a deserted island and you had to take either Tony Evers or Tammy Baldwin, who are you taking to the island with you?
Tony Evers. But I hope I never have to make that choice.
He is Bob Donovan. Always good when you join us. Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You bet.
5:13 at WTMJ. Checking your weather and traffic up next. And then Charles Benson takes us inside last night's numbers.
Listen to Spanning the State.
If things start to really slow down, who gets left holding the bag of whose fault that is and where people place blame for that? Because I don't think a year from now you're going to change corporations' minds and they're just going to bring prices down.
No.
And Brian Noonan.
I don't know all of the things the clerk does. I'm not gonna research a job like that. So I have no problem. If it needs to get filled and it's somebody who's going to do the job correctly, let it be appointed.
Only on WTMJ.
When fall's crisp air greets you in the morning, it's time to think about your garden. Right now is the time to think about the beauty that you want next spring. Landworks Wisconsin, they'll get it done for you. They came in and redid our space, saw some plants that were overgrown, saw some stuff that needed something new. You can divide and transplant those perennials right now. Let them do it for you. At Landworks Wisconsin, they're planting bulbs right now. Let them do that for you. And I just scheduled dormant pruning. I never knew when to prune the stuff in my yard. Landworks is coming out and doing that when it gets a little chillier, and I'm on their schedule. Give your future self some spring flowers. Fall in love with your outdoor space. The company we work with is Landworks. Landworks, Wisconsin.
Craft your Brewers mini plan for the 2025 season, featuring all new 6-packs and 12-packs. Get in on the action with great ticket rates, marquee matchups, and priority seating. Plus, you'll get a limited edition Brewers Crowler with each 12-pack or pair of 6-packs. Looking to customize your games to fit your schedule? Build your own ticket plan options are also available. Pick the plan for you at brewers.com/ticket finder.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Traffic is sponsored by Annex Wealth Management. It's time to know the difference, and Annex Wealth Management is ready to help with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning as a fee-only fiduciary partner. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lazica, how are the roads looking?
Well, we've got a couple of delays along southbound 43. Right now we've got backups from before Hampton Avenue all the way down through the Capitol Drive area down towards North Avenue. On westbound 94, backups from 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound 94, heavy through the Barker Road area, and then again back on the brakes from before 84th Street to about 27th. We've also got some delays along the bypass heading southbound, just coming into the Hale interchange and onto 894 eastbound. Rock Freeway is going to be a bit tight, too, from Highway 100 into the Hale interchange as well. 41 southbound, it's only just south of Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. Hey, help out your fellow commuters. Report accidents and slowdowns to the Hall Volkswagen traffic tip line at 414-238-9329. Come to Hall Volkswagen for the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event. I'm Debbie Lazica with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving time-saver traffic.
You're at WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, wind gusts up to 10 miles an hour. It's going to be breezy, a low of 40 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny, a high of 59 degrees. Saturday, increasing clouds, showers late, high of 58 degrees. Then the showers continue throughout the weekend. On Sunday, morning showers will be breezy, a high of 63 degrees.
Charles Benson is a senior national political reporter for Scripps News and chief political reporter for TMJ4. And Charles Benson has gotten a combined 3 hours and 15 minutes of sleep in the last 4 days. Charles,
you're probably right.
We're glad
you're probably right.
Thanks for being with us.
Hey, great to be here.
Hey, I really want to dive into and get your take because you've been working over the numbers in a lot of different areas. Take us inside what happened in this regard. Donald Trump wins Wisconsin, Republican. Tammy Baldwin retains her Senate seat, Democrat, and those votes came in late. Tell me, how did that happen? Take us inside the numbers.
All right, well, let's start with the President-elect Donald Trump scenario. How did he carry Wisconsin after losing here in 2020 and winning in 2016? And look, there are a couple factors that helped Donald Trump on election night and on election or the morning after. First of all, when you look at the state of Wisconsin, he carries more counties this time. He carried Sauk this time, so one more than he did in 2020, a total of 59 counties. But the big thing he does is he not only wins those counties, he wins by bigger margins in almost every one of those counties. So what that means is he picks up a couple thousand votes here or there. He starts to chip away at what is the big advantage for Democrats out of Dane and Milwaukee County, where they can run up the score by as much as 360,000 votes. So not only does he run up the score in the red counties where he wins, but he also does better than he did in 2020 in those blue counties like Dane and Milwaukee. Vice President Harris did not outperform. She does get more votes in 2024 than Joe Biden did, but the percentage of those votes, she falls short. There's only one county where she outperforms, and that was in Door County. Now, let's get to what happens at 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 years ago, Donald Trump was in the lead until the city of Milwaukee vote came in, and then you saw the swing from Trump to Joe Biden. I call this now the Milwaukee swing. And what happened on election morning, the morning after the election in Milwaukee this time around, Donald Trump had built up such a margin of votes, I think about 110,000. So when that Milwaukee vote came in, he still had enough to hold on. So he ends up winning by 33,000 votes, where 4 years ago, he lost by 20,000 votes. That was the key, I think, for Donald Trump winning in Wisconsin.
Was siphoning off votes in Milwaukee County. I completely agree. And, what was the last stop he had in Wisconsin before the election? He went back to Pfizer.
But why did he outperform Hovde? Because Hovde didn't do that same thing. It's unusual, isn't it, the split?
It is unusual, but we saw a split in 2022, right? We see Senator Ron Johnson winning the state of Wisconsin and Governor Tony Evers. I'll go back to the Milwaukee swing. Hovde was winning at around 3 or 4, leading, I should say, at around 3 or 4 in the morning before we saw those city of Milwaukee votes. And by the way, Milwaukee is a Democratic stronghold. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Tammy Baldwin were going to get a majority of those votes, around 75% of them. But because Hovde had not built up a big enough margin of victory there, when that vote came in out of Milwaukee, we saw the swing again. This time, it is Tammy Baldwin who benefits from the swing. Look, she got more votes than Vice President Harris. Hovde was not able to get that, and I'm still trying to figure out where did those voters go. The one big difference in the Senate race compared to the presidential race, more third-party candidates got more votes in the Senate race than in the presidential race in Wisconsin. So we talked a lot about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. prior to Election Day. He really didn't get that many votes. It was less than 1%. But the overall total vote of the third-party candidates in the Senate race was about 76,000. That's more than what we saw in the presidential race.
And you raise a great point, because Thomas Thieger, the third-party right-wing candidate, far right-wing candidate, self-described that way, got 42,000 votes, and Hovde lost by 29,000 votes. And Hovde's out today saying that guy cost him the election.
So that's what's, why I always say we talk about this, how third-party candidates may not win in Wisconsin, but they can have a big influence. I actually thought we were going to see a bigger influence in the presidential race, especially with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We saw in the latest Marquette poll, the last one, that I think he was still polling at 5%. There is one interesting thing when I kind of look at numbers, I had told you that Trump actually outperforms in just about every county that he wins. You know, way up there in the northeast part of the state, Florence County, 3 out of 4 voters voted for him in Florence County. That's more than what he got in 2020. But you go to Adams County, which is just below Portage, it's around in the central part of the state. Donald Trump underperforms on what he got in 2020. And I was like, how did that happen? What happened in Adams County? And then I went and looked at the third-party votes, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gets about 2.5% of the vote in Adams County. That's 5 times what he got statewide percentage. The one other interesting, I hope I'm not boring you here.
No. I'm on the edge of my seat
here. But in Sauk County used to be the bellwether county, right? The way Sauk went is the way the state would go. Well, this time around, Trump carries Sauk County by 589 votes.
Right.
And in 2020, Biden carried it by 615. Like to have that conversation in Sauk County on who actually switched. The only county that Vice President Harris was not able to hold from 2020.
Man, great stuff. Good perspective. Charles Benson, the best in the business, the senior national political reporter for Scripps News, and the chief political reporter at TMJ4. Charles, thank you so much.
Great to be with you.
You too. 525 at WTMJ. Let's check out the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything's soaring today. My goodness, the Dow up 1,508 points. That's 3.5%. The NASDAQ up 544. That's almost 3%. The S&P was up 146. That is 2.5%. Elections have consequences. We saw that. Is your portfolio now ready as we move to the next phase? Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats.
And free groceries.
Okay, just calm down. We'll get to that later.
Stay tuned in right here to score free groceries.
Stop, please.
Okay, I'm shutting up. My lip is zipped.
Anyway, let's get to this week's specials at Century Foods. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected varieties Stone Ridge ice cream, 2 for $7. 14.1 to 33.5-ounce selected varieties Culinary Circle pizza, $4.99. Gallon selected varieties Prairie Farms white or chocolate milk, $3.99. 8 to 16.5-ounce selected varieties Hostess multi-packs, $2.99.
And now time for the big reveal. Free groceries.
That's too over the top. Try this. Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Win free groceries from Century Foods.
Forget it. I'll handle the rest. Enter to win $500 worth of free groceries on Century's Facebook or Instagram by January 8th.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about AccuNet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scavini for Universal Windows Direct. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your windows. Imagine waking up on a crisp winter morning, your home's perfectly warm, your heating system isn't working overtime. That's what Universal Windows Direct can do for you. Plus, their energy-efficient windows can help you save up to 40% on your heating bills. For every 2 windows you buy, get 2 free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. Call 414-410-2000. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to uwd.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, our weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. It's sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us once again is Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, we talked about the complexity of today's personal insurance market before. Relevant once again today. What are you seeing in the market right now and why this is such an important time of year for a conversation like this?
Thank you, Vince. Great to be here again. Vince, it's hard for me to remember a time when insurance was more relevant than it is today. Right now, we're seeing the destruction of Hurricane Helene almost completely destroy the mountain towns of western North Carolina and parts of Florida. And Hurricane Milton hit the west coast of Florida, devastating everything in its path.
You know, we here in the Midwest tend to think we're immune from this sort of thing, but we've had our share of catastrophic weather events, not hurricane level, but devastating nonetheless, Jeff.
It has, Vince, and we're extremely fortunate in our area where we have financially strong, well-capitalized insurance companies that help their policyholders and our clients recover from these types of events and many other difficult situations.
So, Jeff, what is the takeaway from all this?
It's important to confirm that you're properly insured, because if you wait until after a loss, it can be a huge problem. It can strain your finances, in some cases destroy you financially. The right coverage, including evaluating your need for things like flood insurance, water backup, and other important coverages, is critical.
So with all this going on, what role does your insurance agent play?
Yeah, Vince, a true insurance professional understands the market dynamics, knows insurance coverage in great detail, and can clearly explain your options. R&R understands how to present your account to the market and get multiple carriers to compete for your personal insurance business.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Traffic is sponsored by Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield. Visit holtebeck.com.
Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield is excited to welcome Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist. Learn more at holtebeck.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 5:30. I'm John Mercure. Your top story: an historic brewery closing.
I'm Julia Fellow. A popular cafe reopening.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Still seeing some delays southbound 43, starting at about Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. You'll be back on the brakes from Keefe down to North Avenue and again through the Marquette. Northbound's a bit heavy from North Avenue up towards Locust. Westbound 94, backups from before 25th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound is going to be slow from about Highway F all the way through the Barker Road area to Brookfield Road. And then back on the brakes from the Zoo interchange all the way through the stadium to 35th Street. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight will be mostly cloudy, a low of 42. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58 degrees.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, it's a developing story out of Walworth County. A small plane has crashed near the East Troy Airport. Police say the crash happened near I-43 and Highway 20. It's not known if anyone was injured in the crash.
Molson Coors has announced plans. The closure of the historic Leinenkugel's Brewery in Chippewa Falls is happening.
The brewing giant tells WTMJ the decision to close the Northwestern Wisconsin Brewery is a result of the end of a large contract brewing agreement and that operations will now shift to their main site in Milwaukee's Miller Valley. In a statement to WTMJ, former Leinenkugel's president Dick Leinenkugel says none of his family was made aware of or counseled on the decision. Molson Coors adds the Leine Lodge and adjacent pilot brewery in Chippewa Falls will remain open year-round. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A shuttered Milwaukee coffee shop is now reopening its doors. The Daily Bird in the city's River West neighborhood says they'll be back open tomorrow. The shop closed up on Monday. The business says sales of bumper stickers will go towards recouping lost wages for their staff during the two-day closure.
One of two suspects in the death of a toddler from Two Rivers made his preliminary court appearance today. Prosecutors say Jesse Vang's alleged physical abuse of 3-year-old Elijah Vu led to the child's death earlier this year. Manitowoc County District Attorney says this.
What was the typical phrase that he would be asked to say to Katrina Bauer?
Sometimes a lot of the phrases were prompted by Jesse, so he would prompt victim child one what to say, such as, sorry, mommy, good boy, no more, I don't want to live at uncle's house anymore, things like that.
Boo's mother, Katrina Bauer, is also charged in connection to the little boy's death. She'll be back in court December 20th.
Vice President Kamala Harris has formally conceded the presidential election.
From her alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C., Vice President Harris addressed the nation.
My heart is full today.
She says while she didn't win this election, she will never give up the fight.
A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up.
She says it will take hard work, but hard work takes time, and
hard work is good work.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
A return to the White House for President-elect Donald Trump will likely have a major impact on the criminal case he's still facing. CBS Scott McFarland.
CBS News has learned the special counsel is in discussions to try to wind down those 2 federal criminal cases against Trump before Trump's inaugurated, which means in the coming weeks. The classified records case at Mar-a-Lago, which was dismissed by a Trump-appointed judge on July 15th, but the special counsel's been trying to resuscitate it, and also, of course, the 2020 election conspiracy case.
The judge has penciled in November 26th for sentencing.
Control over the state assembly and state senate remain in the hands of the GOP. Of the 4 state senate races, 2 were contested. Republican Eric Wimberger wins the race for the 2nd district. In the state assembly, Republicans won all 4 of their races.
Wisconsin's 8th District Senate seat is now in the hands of Democrat Jody Habush-Sinekin after she defeated Republican incumbent Dewey Strobel. Sinekin tells WTMJ News the ungerrymandered election map helped her, she says.
We just had a better chance at it. So I just really understood then how important it is to have a democracy that gives both parties a fair shake at representation.
And she says that her win is even more remarkable considering Republican wins across Wisconsin and the nation took place.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. My little thing didn't work. Good thing you were there.
I was going to help you out.
You did. The bye week continues for the Packers, but not for Preston Smith, who was traded to the Steelers before Tuesday's deadline. Week 10 of the NFL season begins tomorrow night with the Ravens hosting the Bengals. And the Bucs aim to snap a 6-game losing streak tomorrow night. They're at home against the Utah Jazz.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:36.
Otto's Wine and Spirits. It's the place that I like to shop. You know, they got the best selection. They've just got the best stuff going on there, and they are the real deal. Otto's, let me tell you about something that recently took place at Otto's for me. So I was super excited because I'm in the wine club. I get an email every month, and I can either buy the case of wine or not. This is what came into my inbox. Highly rated 2022 South African red blend. Suggested retail $11 a bottle. I got it at Otto's. If I bought a case of it for $6.95 a bottle.
Whoa.
Half price. Julia, you should have bought a case of this. Half price, and it's really great, highly rated wine. That's how they roll at Otto's. They've got the best selection and the best pricing, best value anywhere. Since 1945, it's been Otto's Wine and Spirits. $11 a bottle. I got it for $6.95. Employee-owned, friendly staff. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits.
I need that right now.
Hey, Wisconsin, WTMJ's Greg Matzik here for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. Hey, comfortable fall weather makes now perfect timing to gear up and be ready to take to the roads with confidence this winter in a new all-wheel drive equipped Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC. Or explore the peace of mind benefits and value of a GM-certified pre-owned model. Connect with Team Holiday to find the new vehicle that's right for you during the year-end sale. Score enticing offers, get more for your trade, and experience for yourself Team Holiday's simplified buying approach and genuine guest care. It's the stuff that delights and makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State and beyond. Fans like me and thousands of others whose trust in Holiday has helped them achieve top ranking as Wisconsin's #1 Buick and GMC dealer per 2023 Buick and GMC Zone Sales records. Navigate today's car market confidently. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick and GMC in Fond du Lac and at holidaygm.com. It's worth the trip.
Sponsored by Holiday Automotive, Highway 23 in Fond du Lac. Holiday Automotive, it's worth the trip.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Hey, let's bring in our guy, Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky on a drizzly kind of day. At least this morning it was drizzly. It looks a little better now.
Yeah.
Niz, how are you?
It's been on and off through the day today. Definitely a gloomy day. Hey, I was just listening. Did I hear you guys doing an Otto's spot? That's pretty cool.
I'm so ready. Love Otto's.
Me too.
You do? Which one do you go to?
Oh, I've been going to Otto's strong since my UWM days. The Oakland one, Oakland Avenue one.
That's got a great vibe, that Oakland one.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Tough to park. Angle parking in that small. Yeah, but you can get through it.
You're a wine drinker, so did you hear that deal? It's like $11 for a nice wine from South Africa. If you buy the case at Otto's, it's $6.95. Incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, get Julie some of that nice wine.
That's a steal. Well, hey, I'll tell you this, and I hope I'm not giving it away here because now all of a sudden it'll be out of stock. Otto's, I'll help you out with your Otto's pitch here. Otto's has this sparkling wine, the champagne. Well, it's not technically champagne, sparkling wine. Domaine Carneros, which is a winery that we went to. Julie and I. We went to Napa like over a decade ago, like before we were married, and I can't find it anywhere except Otto's carries it.
Really?
And it's not overly expensive. It's not a cheapie, but it's a medium range priced one. Domaine Carneros, I think they have a Brut, they have a Rosé. It's
all right.
It's top notch. Yep.
That's the name of the wine or the name of the label?
Domaine Carneros is the winery.
The winery. Okay, I'm on it.
Yep.
We both jotted that down. So Otto's, best selection, best price. Niz, fantastic. That's a good tip.
We need to drink after last night. Did you stay up last night, Niz?
I stayed up for most of it. I didn't have any wine.
Okay. Did you notice how tall Barron Trump was?
I see. The thing is I randomly Googled that.
Really?
Like a couple days ago, because he brought it up. Like Trump brought it up in a speech. He kept talking about how tall Barron is, and he's like the tallest kid. And I'm thinking, okay, he's probably exaggerating, right? You're probably thinking maybe the kid's 6'2" or something like that. No, this kid's a giant. He's like, what do you say, 6'8" or something like that?
Oh my gosh, that's so tall.
I was like, he looks like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah, was not expecting that, but no, I stayed up. I was here working, and then I didn't have to stay here as late as like Steve Shamras and Susan Kim. But then I went home and I had it on a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
You could kind of, even though things weren't getting officially called, you could see where things were going.
Yep.
For sure. So I wasn't gonna, stay up and there was no surprise when you woke up and found the news.
I love election night when you go home and you crack that beer and you just kind of watch a little bit of TV, all the graphics, and all of a sudden you're having that. I had a Miller High Life Light, and just, it's the best.
I really wanted to. I'm very much a weekend social drinker. Like, don't get me wrong. Let's sign a petition. Let's have election night be Saturday night.
Yes.
Saturday night.
Please. Like Halloween.
Yeah, election night you're exempt, Niz. You can have it's election night. You can have one. Celebrate America.
I think we would all get along a lot better. You host a party, you have representation.
Me tell you, at the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, people had a phone in the one hand and multiple beers in the other. There was free flow drinking.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw a lot of that on the TV too, even the guests.
Yeah, you're right.
It was interesting.
So how are we doing? Lead us through tonight, the next few days, Niz.
It's gloomy tonight, but tomorrow, sunshine back in full force. Should be pretty good. 58 degrees on Thursday. Friday, mostly sunny, 68 degrees. Saturday, an increase in cloud cover through the day. We're looking at a pretty decent chance for rain that arrives, looks like after sunset on Saturday. So if you get yard work done during the day, you should be good to go. Saturday night and into Sunday, those showers pretty scattered, but pretty likely too. So Sunday, not a complete washout, but a decent chance of some showers at some point and a high temperature of 61 degrees. So if you're looking to get yard work done next couple days or the first half of the weekend.
What's the average high this time of year?
It's upper 50s.
Okay.
So it's, not actually
right
the temperatures the next couple days.
Yeah,
totally. Let me look right now. I overspoke. We're getting averages now lower to middle 50s. I think 53 for tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, so this is still a little above normal.
Sounds good. Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky. Thanks, Niz.
All right, see you guys later.
It is 5:43 at WTMJ.
Quality roofing, siding, and window manufacturers offer extremely solid warranties.
But you have to make sure that the contractor you hire will outlast them and be there to support you. Right, Dad?
Hi, I'm Randy Miller from All Right Home and Remodeling. You can trust that our second generation,
third generation,
fourth generation,
family-owned company will be here for you and your children and their children.
And their children's children.
Learn more at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Do you know how taxes will impact your golden years? I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Proper tax planning can make all the difference in your retirement savings. Without the right strategy, taxes can take a big bite out of your hard-earned nest egg. We can help you maximize your retirement income and keep more of what you earned. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be low forever. At Drake & Associates, we focus on helping you navigate the complexities of tax laws to ensure your financial future is secure. Don't let taxes derail your retirement dreams. Call us or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's TAX to 414-409-9982.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
Traffic is sponsored by the amazing Mineshaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
The successful Mineshaft Restaurant in Hartford is hiring positive, professional servers, bartenders, and pizza cooks. You'll make real cash. Inquire today, start next week. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Traffic with Debbie Lazica. Hey, Deb, how are the roads?
Hey, Julia. Things are looking a little bit slow along southbound 43 from just before Hampton. Going to be pretty solid all the way down to about North Avenue. On southbound 41, slowing from Silver Spring down to Capitol Drive. Westbound 94, heavy from about 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Once you get past that, you're good to go past the zoo. And then eastbound 94 has got some heavy traffic coming out of the Barker Road area and then back on the brakes from the zoo all the way to about 35th Street. I'm Debbie Lazica with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Anthony Chergosky is an associate professor of political science at UW-La Crosse, and he's with us on this day after the election. Professor, thanks for being with us. Let's start with what's your biggest surprise from last night?
Well, it is always notable, John, when there is a split decision with Donald Trump carrying Wisconsin, but Tammy Baldwin emerging victorious in the U.S. Senate race. It just goes to show that Wisconsin came into this election as a 50-50 swing state, and Wisconsin is heading out of this election as a 50-50 swing state. No better representation of that than one party winning one statewide election, the other party winning the other statewide election. And oh, by the way, Baldwin and Trump both won their races by almost identical margins.
And she's never lost a race. And she was winning by double digits in her last race against U.S. Senator Leah Vukmir. And now with Eric Hovde, it got so close. I mean, I went to bed thinking that Hovde won.
Me too.
Why did she trail, Anthony?
You know, those late absentee ballots that came in, those votes that get counted earlier in the night, tallied earlier in the night, tend to lean more Republican. And then the votes that come in later tend to go more Democratic, just based on how people are voting and the patterns at which the votes are counted. You're right that Tammy Baldwin had a large lead as we started this campaign. throughout the summer, early fall. This race really tightened up, but ultimately she was able to get just enough of an advantage over Eric Hovde, overperforming Kamala Harris by just enough to eke out a victory.
I want to ask you about something Eric Hovde is saying today, Anthony. He's attacking the third-party candidate, Thomas Leaguer. Thomas Leaguer is a far right-wing candidate. None of those people would have voted for Tammy Baldwin. Thomas Leaguer gets 42,000 votes, and Eric Hovde loses by 29,000 votes. Can you talk about that dynamic? Is that a legitimate complaint if you're Eric Hovde?
I think he's onto something here. And generally, I think that candidates who lose these close elections tend to point to those third-party candidates, because when we're talking about a 30,000 vote margin, the third-party candidates could absolutely make the difference. Goodness knows the Democrats have had their complaints about third-party candidates in the past, most notably Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate back in 2016. So this is a common theme of candidates who narrowly lost the election, narrowly losing an election where third-party candidates play a role.
Eric Hovde, as you analyze the state of politics in our state, and he's been a high-profile candidate in a couple of elections now, if he decides to run for governor in 26, would he be the front runner?
Oh.
I think he would have the inside track to the Republican nomination. Now, he may face more of a competitive process for the GOP nomination should he seek statewide office again. Worth noting that he faced really no competition at all for the GOP nomination this time. I think it played to his advantage. Sometimes avoiding that contentious primary can really be a good thing. In this case, he was able to focus his messaging on the general election from the start, able to conserve some of those funds. I think there's going to be some Monday morning quarterbacking here, some second guessing at some key decisions that Hovde made. But still, he came darn close, and he was able to really tighten this race up as we got into late October and the final days of this campaign.
Now, do you want to talk about Representative Derek Van Orden next? Because that's Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district.
In your district, I mean, that's out by you.
Former Navy SEAL. There was millions of dollars in outside spending from national Democrats to kind of, sway this purple district after he flipped it red for the first time in like almost 30 years, nearly 30 years, during his election in 2022. How close do you think that got, and why were people almost not going to reelect him?
Yeah, Derek Van Orden has attracted controversies for various incidents, various news stories, including a situation in the Capitol where he was yelling at some teen pages from the U.S. Senate. But there have been other situations as well. And so in comes Rebecca Cook, his Democratic challenger, and she is able to raise a ton of money. And she's also able to attract that outside support from groups aligned with the Democratic Party. It all added up to much more even spending than we saw in this district back in 2022. And it gave Van Orden a run for his money. Still, he was able to continue establishing his brand as a political outsider, even while enjoying the advantages of incumbency. He had a bit of a needle to thread there, emphasizing how he remains a political outsider, even though he is now a current member of Congress. So he now heads into his second term in office, and we saw a really dramatic race out here, certainly the most competitive U.S. House race in Wisconsin.
Anthony Chergosky is with us from UW-La Crosse. New maps in place for the first time in this election, and Democrats made key pickups in the state Senate and in the Assembly, but the GOP still has majorities in both. Can you give us some analysis on how much tighter things are and what this could mean for the next few election cycles moving forward?
Yeah, Democrats picked up a bunch of seats in both chambers. They picked up several seats in the state assembly, not enough to win that majority, but enough to significantly eat into the substantial Republican margins that the GOP has enjoyed for over a decade in the state assembly. And then in the state Senate, there just was not a pathway for the Democrats to win the majority in the state Senate this year. So they had to gain enough seats to set the stage for an opportunity to win the majority in 2026. And Democrats did what they needed to do to set the stage for that majority control battle 2 years from now. So hold on when it comes to the state Senate. That is set up for 2026. The balance of power in the state Senate But as we go into the final 2 years of Governor Evers' term in office, I think the politics of these next 2 years are going to be greatly shaped by the fact that Republicans, while they are the majority party in both the state assembly and the state senate, they are not that overwhelming majority. And I think that could play a role.
And do you think they're not going to be an overwhelming majority in 2026 because of the new legislative maps that were upheld by our state Supreme Court?
Absolutely, Julia. These district maps make it very difficult for Republicans to get anywhere close to the previous majorities. They were darn near two-thirds majorities, veto-proof majorities in both the state Senate and state assembly. Heck, they even got that two-thirds majority last time around in the state Senate. Under these maps, there is just simply no pathway for Republicans to get those overwhelming majorities. Still, Republicans are going into the next 2 years with majority control still, and we shall see how the Republicans operate in the state assembly, the state Senate, with those majorities intact, but not the overwhelming majorities that they've had before. It will take some adjustment on their part to adapt to these new realities.
Anthony Chergosky, Associate Professor of Political Science at UW-La Crosse. Always great information. Anthony, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, here's how you can catch up on everything in the show. I feel like my immune system's been a little low. We're all working so hard. I have vitamin C drop in my mouth.
That's all right.
It's pretty good, but I can't talk very good. My mom listens to the show, and right now I bet she's ticked off because I'm talking with my mouth full. All right. Who do we have on the show today that was really good?
Your observations were awesome, I thought, last night.
Yours too. You were out in the field, which was more interesting.
Interesting perspectives.
Bob Donovan was with us. Anthony Chergosky, love that guy, from UW-La Crosse. Mark Tauscher was with us. We even asked him an election question. Tori Lowe, Liz Brown, wasn't that fun? Andrew Davis about what it means for the business community. So you can check all this out by texting the word afternoon to 855-616-1620. Text the word afternoon to 855-616-1620. Takes you right to our podcast page. All these interviews are on there. The whole show is on there. The fun stuff we do is on there. Did a segment today on how you can help the people in your life cope with being upset about the election. If you
that
live
was
with somebody.
interesting. That was really helpful.
Text the word afternoon to 855-616-1620, and you get it all right there. So check it out. Tomorrow, more on the story that we broke today, that the Leinenkugel Brewery will cease brewing beer in Chippewa Falls. That is a really big deal. We have much more on that coming up on tomorrow's show, an exclusive interview that I will tell you about tomorrow. We'll have that. And, of course, the continued fallout for what happened in the election. It's 5:55 at WTMJ. Text the word afternoon to 855-616-1620.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Arizona-based Pickleball Kingdom selects a new site for its first Milwaukee area location. The company will develop a facility in Menominee Falls on Shawn Circle at the former home of Multicolor Corporation. Associated Bank Corporation reduces its retail banking network with the planned closure of 4 branch offices. 3 of those offices are in Wisconsin, and 1 is in Illinois. Raising Cane's national chicken finger chain aims to grow to 1,000 restaurants by 2026. Wisconsin will be part of that growth, with 2 new restaurants in 2025 in Janesville and La Crosse, bringing the state's total locations to 7. I'm Linda Spice with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Hey, John Mercure here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. I love this time of year. Crisp in the air, football season, the bonfires in the backyard, all that good stuff. Also, one of my favorite people celebrates a birthday.